Microphone check, 1, 2. You know it's me. Coming to the studio, putting on the script. God knows.
Big up Doctah X, you're the big man. Break it down so we can understand. Ghettoology, done no. 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 Ghettoology, done no.
Prominent families often forget a simple truth.
And which truth is that?
Knowledge is power.
Seize him.
Big up Doctah X. You are the big man. Big up Doctah X. You are the big man.
I've changed my mind. Let him go. Step back 3 paces. Turn around. Close your eyes. Power is power. Power is power.
Big up Doctah X, you're the big man. Break it down so we can understand. Ghettoology, done no. 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 Ghettoology, done no.
You
Big
are
up
a
Doctah X, you're
slave.
the big man. Break it down so we can understand. Ghettoology, done no. Ghettoology, done no. Ghettoology, done no.
You are a slave. You are a slave. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage. Born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind. A prison for your mind. 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 Prison. 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 Prison, prison, prison.
The Negroes in America, so-called African Americans, are not very intelligent. They do, however, have enough intelligence to become highly educated professionals and become employers and employees. But their ability to raise their economic status as an ethnic group and gain real power in America is almost non-existent. It seems that the effects of slavery has left them with the extraordinary ability to serve and entertain. As individuals, some of them have gained a high profile in America as servants of the American people. They have become high court judges, senators, generals, and have even been elected to a previously unimaginable position as President of the United States. As the ancestors of former slaves, some have even been allowed to become rich beyond their wildest dreams, but not allowed to build any institutions or develop anything specifically for their fellow African Americans. The rich individuals amongst them display opulence without political muscle or socio-economic influence. As an ethnic group, they own nothing. They control nothing. Only authorized activity endorsed by white America is allowed, such as hip-hop, which is controlled by white corporate America. This is a mostly regressive music, and advertises felony crimes as a way of life for the young blacks. It also helps to fill up the prisons for profit. What's my white America. African Americans parade their material possessions as a sign of status, while on the whole, as a group, they hold no real status in America, unlike the powerful groups that control America and are white American, whose ancestors were slave owners. Everything black Americans do upholds the way of life of the white Americans, who kidnapped them from Africa, treated them like animals, tortured and enslaved them. Yet the Negroes love America. How strange. And today, after over 100 years of freedom, the dream of Martin Luther King, after everything blacks have achieved in this country, go to any black area in America, and you will find, mostly, ghettos.
Often forget a simple truth.
And which truth is that?
Knowledge is power.
Seize him. Cut his throat. Stop. Wait. I've changed my mind. Let him go. Step back 3 paces. Turn around. Close your eyes. Power is power. Power is power.
Yes, in tune to www.genesis. Just in the UK. You don't know. I'm Dr. X. You don't know. If you listened to me before, this is a people's talk show. I'm the host with the most close. We're gonna talk about power. You know what I'm saying today, and I'm gonna try, express to you how powerless black people are. Now, again, I know there's gonna be some late listeners, but for those of you who have listened first, I listened early. Remember, I'm saying this is not a solutions-based problem show. Yeah, this is a show talking about the reality of our existence. Yeah. So when we talk and you want to phone in, you want to discuss, and you have an alternative view, I get that. I'll give you the number first off. So those of your early listeners, 07 and let me be clear. If you're gonna call and you're gonna chat shit, then I'm gonna cut you off. You know what I'm saying? If you're not sticking to the subject matter, I'm gonna have to cut you off. You know what I'm saying? It's not long. I can't get into all of that anymore. I've done this for many years, and now it's getting very tedious to have to go through the same things over and over. Even though I still have to go through the same things over and over. 07931 is 07931 276 232. That'll get you through. Also, but via text, 07931 276 232. Also via text. Yeah. So so I'm not really gonna entertain what people might think is doom and gloom or whatever, because I know a lot of people listen and they think I'm not hitting the places what they want me to hit in terms of, oh yeah, what we need to do is hold hands and be together and love each other, and then what we need to do is spend money with each other, and come on, I'm saying? I've been on this particular station, on and off for 17 years. Nothing's changed. In fact, it's got double or triple or quadruple worse. So the idea that you're going to keep coming off with these stupidness to make yourself feel good, this is not bodybuilding. This is not weight training. You know what I'm saying? This is not running. This is real life. This is your everyday tax shopping, you know what I'm saying, living, telly watching day. This is not, let's get to, keep it real, and, one day you'll get it and keep positive, and, you get the contract or this. No, this is not this. This is real life. So I'm not saying that one shouldn't be positive. I'm saying that what I talk about, I've been talking for a very, very long time. And I've gone through all of these stages of, one day, and keep hope alive. I realize now that there is no real hope in that way. I don't know I'm not saying that we should all give up. I'm saying that in order to understand what you're up against, you have to face the reality of your existence. Because a lot of people, both the African-centered groups, the religious groups, the everyday groups, the Hebrew Israelite groups, the Anunnaki groups, whatever you want to call them groups, you know what I'm saying? They all got this fantasy about, this system that they can join and be better than. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying that this system is about destroying black people. You understand what I'm saying? You cannot win with this system. You know what I'm saying? And everybody that joins it, don't you see what happens? So don't let nobody fool you talking about they want to be the next this and the next that. Yeah, because what it means is that they're willing to, they've given up and they want to join the system. If you can't beat the saying is, if you can't beat it, join it, isn't it? That's the saying. So a lot of people want to join this system, and I'm saying, whatever you want to do is whatever you want to do. You know what I'm saying? You can't pretend you've got power. You know what I'm saying? When you don't have any. People are talking about, I'm not being negative, talking about the business situation. I spoke about business the last time I was on air in May. And I said to you that, the business, what you're joining is not business. It's what you're joining is white business. You're not joining, business is business. Business is based off of capitalism. You start doing business, your business is a corrupt enterprise in Europe. It's a corrupt economic, very, very corrupt, very divisive, very evil. The European business model is. So you keep telling out your people as a black man, you're a businessman. You know, you're only telling me that you're willing to do exactly what they do. They rob, they throw away food. It's not a recyclable economic. They'll have a banquet. You know what I'm saying? They'll have £1,000 worth of food. They'll only eat £500 worth of the food, and they'll dash away the rest of the £500 worth of edible food. If it's a banquet of £10,000 and they only eat £5,000, they'll throw away the other £5,000 worth of food, because these are rich people, while other people on the ground are struggling to survive. It's not a recyclable economic. It's not an earthbound economic. This is some alien economic that's brought here by conquerors of this planet. Because it's not nothing they do is recyclable. They're not from here. But that's a whole nother sequence of events. That's a whole nother lecture. That's a whole nother, not lecture, talk or lecture or whatever. It's a whole nother point of view. But given what you've seen so far, black people are powerless. Black people are 100% across the globe powerless. You know what I'm saying? They've mistaken money for power, and we know it's a mistake, because we've seen hip hoppers and television people and whatever what do you call them? Athletes all profess to be rich and all profess to have money, and they're impotent. They absolutely cannot do anything with the money they have except show off. They just turn to black people and go, "Look at me, yeah, like look at me," and show off. That's all they know. They don't know anything else. You know what I'm saying? All they know is to show off. They don't know anything else. There's nothing they can do except, "I've got another car. Yeah, I've got another house. Yeah, I've just spent £1,000 on a bottle of a Moe. You know what I'm saying? Or a bottle of, a Magnum bottle of fucking Dom Perignon or Kiko or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I just bought 150. I just spent £1,500 on a bottle of Hennessy Gold or some shit like that. That's what they do with their money, because they really can't do anything else with it, because they're not powerful. They have no power. They're all ghetto people. There's a small ghetto and there's a large ghetto. There's a small prison and then there's a large prison. We all live in the same prison. So you have prisoners with rights, you know what I'm saying, and you have prisoners with a lot of rights, you know what I'm saying, in terms of wealth, and then you have people with not a lot of wealth and not a lot of rights in the same prison. It's just like anybody that's been to jail or anybody that knows to go to jail. You have when you go to jail, you have different levels of jail. You got the A category jail, where people are locked up a lot of the time under a lot of heavy guard and very very tight security, mostly murderers and bank robbers and people with a violent tendency. And then you have the B cat, which is not so bad, which is just mostly for assault and minor assaults. And then you have the C cat, which is mostly for fraud and various types of things like that, according to who they want to send there as well. Then I think you even got a D category where it's, you just come and go as you please, almost like a tag, but a place, right? So, and also now you have the tag jail, where you can stay at home and be in jail, because it says you can go out, you can have some sex, you can do what you want. You know what I mean? You can even start a family while you're on the tag. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So that's another jail. So we're all in this big jail, and then there's people with the big cars and the small cars. There's people with the big houses and the small houses, or the big houses and the small flats. You know what I'm saying? The small flats and the one rooms. You know, it just goes on like that. But none of them can function outside of that remit that white people have set. White people are ultimately racist. They're across the globe. This is not just Britain. This is not just America. Across the globe, white people are ultimately racist. All the shades of white are ultimately racist. They hate dark-skinned people and they hate black people. And they'll do anything. And it doesn't matter how much they mix. They're not a standardized people. They're not a fair-minded people. They're not an honest people. You know what I'm saying? They're not honest to themselves. They're not honest amongst each other. And they're very pretentious, and they're good at Hollywood, as I call it. You know what I mean? They're good at Hollywooding. They're good at faking attention. Those who have worked in the retail industry and in any other industry where white people work, and you're black, the types of things they get up to in terms of their two-facedness. Black people are just as bad, don't get it twisted, but they're brought up under that system of two-faced. They're becoming more and more like them. So it's becoming harder and harder to break that leash, and it's becoming more and more apparent that we're going to be destroyed, because these people they have no fight left in them. You know what I'm saying? They want to join the system and become a part of it and think somehow they're winning. Or if they think they're winning, they're absolutely deluded. because they're nowhere even halfway, even slowly, even close to winning. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to happen under that kind of circumstances. If I know that. You know what I'm saying? So no matter what nobody tells you, black people don't have no power. And if they do, the number is 07931 276 232. Now, I argue that. And also, you know, that, I mean, if you have that point, if you have a point to say they do, then and by all means. But that's not going to happen. Like every time I mention something, because it's not argumentative enough, it's not free-flowing enough, because then you have to know what you're up against, in terms of me anyway. You know what I mean? You got to know what you're up against when you come with that. You can't just, it's not a free argument where, you know, like, yeah, I don't think man's got this, you know, and like, rare, and I'm just talking off the top of my head. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of angles I've already covered. So I'm saying, so I'm not going to just say it as an opinion. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's a fact either. I'm saying it's a very strong held view by me. You know what I'm saying? Very strong, and it's and I can very, very, very much defend it in the way things are going on. You know what I'm saying? Nobody knows ultimately where we're going to end up. You know what I'm saying? Nobody actually knows, but I can tell you where we won't be. We won't be winning. That's what we won't be doing. Because we're at the moment, over the past 2,000 years, we've been losing in every continent and every part of the world. And the more, you know, when people start to focus on our little tragedy, which is the African tragedy, you know what I mean, and forgot about the Caribbean tragedy of murder and annihilation of a peoples, and the torture and the poisoning of a people. You know what I'm saying? This is what Europeans do across the globe. When they stop thinking about that and only focus on the African Holocaust, so to speak, because that's their business basically, and then you forget about the Indian Holocaust of North America, of the so-called USA today, where they've murdered, raped, killed men, women and children, killed lots of children, lots of grandparents. They just murdered off, unarmed, you know, and unable to defend themselves, just murdered them. They've poisoned them. They've given them diseases. They've raped the women. They've tortured the men. They've hung, drawn and caught of the people of that to have that land. Yeah, that's then there. Then you go to Australia, where they've murdered, they've tortured, they've raped, they've killed men, women and children, unarmed men, women. They didn't capture them. They murdered them. They murdered entire entire tribes. They just wiped them out clean to control that planet. You know what I mean? Sorry, to control that part of the world. You know what I'm saying? You got in Russia, where Stalin killed more millions than Hitler killed. Then you got in Europe where Hitler killed. And a lot of them, where people don't realise that a lot of those people were ethnic. You know what I'm saying? That means that they had some black or brown in them. So, you know, but they hide it from history, so you don't really see why they're killing so many people, because they're trying to eradicate from the planet the original man of this planet. You know what I'm saying? The solar man, the man of soul. You know what I'm saying? The man in the solar system, man on a planet that's in the solar system that revolves around the sol, which is the soul, which is the sun, the solar system. You know what I'm saying? With solar beams, what they call UVF beams. That's what shines on the planet. You know what I'm saying? And and gradually the planet's becoming colder and more unstable, so it can accommodate this colder and unstable personality or being that is also down here now. You know, that's what I'm saying? So when you look at the political processes that are in, black people don't have no power. As I keep saying, they're poor. Nigerian keep saying how proud they're to be Nigerian, and they come over there and they're licky like nothing. They pour out of Nigeria all over the world in their tens of thousands, not a couple hundred of them. Tens. I mean, they said at one point there's 1 million of them over here. Why? You know, you got a country of 174 million, and 1 million you've just left to come to one country. What about Sweden, which they're there, Greece and Turkey and all these places where they also at? They're pouring out of their countries that can't keep them, but they're proud to be of that country. It just doesn't make sense to worship a European god that's only about the suppression of you, and then saying that he hasn't got no color when you worship the color of the Jesus or the Jesus or whatever. Then you got another set of people saying that they're Jehovah's Witness, and then you got another set of people. It's just too much. It's just too much happening for black people for anybody to say we'll ever win this thing at present. The destruction on earth in terms of what's happening to black people all across the world is phenomenal. It's to the point where you try to start to ignore it, and then you concentrate on the 7 people that were killed or the 10 people that killed the other day in London. Yet when Sudan, when they were wiping out thousands of people, nobody blinked an eye. Nobody feels that the blood of black people is worth crying over. With over this year, I don't know how many black people have been stabbed. Nobody thinks that. Black people themselves don't think that and that Black Lives Matters has been funded by a white man. Because as a sensible person and a free person, why would you say Black Lives Matter? You know what I'm saying? All lives matter. On top of that, you know what I'm saying? It's one rule for them and one rule for us. It would be more politically potent to speak something more realistic than Black Lives Matter, like you're begging. Always on the begging tip. You know what I'm saying? Not you kill us, we kill you. No. That can't work. Black Lives Matter. You know what I'm saying? Not one rule for them, one rule for us. No, that can't work. Black Lives Matter. You know what I'm saying? Not, there is no justice for black people. No, that doesn't work because that doesn't rhyme. Black Lives Matter. That doesn't have a marketing click to it. Black Lives Matter. You know what I'm saying? Not that too many black men are in prison in America. No, that can't work because Black Lives Matter. You know what I'm saying? Not that the music is so saturated with violence and murder and drug taking and prostitution. You know what I'm saying? All over, even R&B now, and they're calling R&B, you've got hip-hop music being called R&B, and it's about blood, violence, murder, killing, drug taking, and stealing and criminal activity across the board. But Black Lives Matter. No, don't watch about that. Black Lives Matter. So if you are not clever enough, if you cannot see today that they control everything and their objective is not to make their objective is not to make life better for black people. It's to subtly destroy them while their eyes are wide open. If you don't understand that, you don't understand nothing. You know what I'm saying? So when you hear me, doom and gloom and X and da, when you're not, you know what I'm saying? You don't bother. Everybody's talking about money. Like, all of a sudden, you go back 20 years and people's talking about something else. But as soon as white people put something on the agenda, the European mindset put something on the agenda, everybody's a businessman. Everybody's talking about money. Everybody's talking about property ownership. All of a sudden, black people are all on this thing, which white people have given them the permission to be on. Oh, yeah, I got to own my own property. I own my property. You know what I'm saying? And as if that matters. Yeah, of course it matters. If you decided that you're going to be, down for the whole system and you give a shit, but don't, just carry on and don't complain. Don't talk about black people at all. Just do your thing and say, fuck it. I don't care. I got to live. Just do that and stop talking about, black people, we need to spend our money together. You know what I'm saying? And, and Marcus Garvey was talking about that 100 years ago. Just recently, you know what I'm saying, Malcolm X was talking about that. That's in over that last 50 years. But 100 years ago, Marcus Garvey was talking about it, and you still didn't do anything. We still didn't do it because white people have such a control over black people, and black people are so easily bought in terms of money. Their them is so wide open along every scale, no matter whether you're dunce or whether you're super double triple educated. It does not matter. From the bottom to the top, your mind will be bought. You are a sellout. That's what sellout comes from. Whatever you once believed in, they can buy it out. Because they have a saying in the European sayings books, on the European mindset, they have a saying, everything has its price. And they're right. In terms of black people, you know what I'm saying, once their belly's hungry and they see that money, there's the amount of informers that are in the black ghetto, the amount of agents that work for the benefit of white domination and white racism. You know what I'm saying? So, and if I talk about my race, it's like, oh, you're racist. Oh, that's smart. That was very smart of you for your government to put that in to make it look as if I'm racist. I'm not racist. I'm race aware. There's a big difference between being racist, which is just about my race, and being aware of my race, which that's what I am. I'm clearly race aware. I'm not racist. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe, I spar with white people. I'm forced to anyway. You know what I'm saying? I've got white friends, so I'm not racist. I'm just race aware. I can tell the difference between what you lot are doing to each other and what you lot are doing to us. You know what I'm saying? And then putting it on us. We trip over an old woman on the street and it's front page. You know what I mean? You lot killed 2 or 3 people and it's somewhere stuck in the middle. You know what I'm saying? So there's clearly an agenda to focus worldwide, not just in Britain. America's now moving to Britain. As I've told you this many, many times. America's moving to Britain. So you'll see American people in office. You'll see more American people over here because that same cutthroat give a fuck about people mentality is what they want to transfer in here. That's why this is going on over in this country now, just as the elections are about to come. They don't want no more of that humane activity anymore. They want this cold-blooded, you know what I'm saying, cutthroat mentality where, you know, fuck everybody else, fuck the poor and anybody. Don't balance out the economy. Only the rich and only the powerful must have money. You know what I'm saying? Power is power. Money is not power. Knowledge is not power. Get that out of your thick skulls. You know, all your little soothsayers and philosophers, like, yeah, my knowledge is power. Yeah, all you can do is bun a spliff. You know what I'm saying? Big up the zoo and then you're nice. But in terms of showing me where that power is, you can't show me. You make up silliness like, I got power over my kids. I got power in my house. I'm not talking about that power, you dickhead. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about the power to move a nation. The social power. That's the power we're talking about. Because obviously you have the power of will. You have the power of money. You have the power of this. You know what I'm saying? You can say power, you know, you can say power is any bloody thing. You know what I'm saying? But we're not talking about any old power. We're talking about social mobility power. We're talking about social power. You know what I'm saying? You know, power is a noun. So if it's a noun, then we're talking about what it does. You know what I'm saying? You could talk about the power of speech. You could talk about the power over your own destiny or over your own life. The power of love. All these things there's power in. So if I'm then talking about a social issue and the leadership issue and the after slave issue, I'm not talking about power of love. I'm not talking about power over over your armchair or over your speech or over your family or, you know, or the power of law. I'm talking about the power to you know, because I did a lecture one time and when I was talking about, and, you know, I'm not African and like, you know, I'm a human being and I'm not African, you know what I'm saying? They were going, you know, like, you know, I said, if you name yourself something, that doesn't mean you're something. They're shouting out, self-determination. So, self-determination with what? How you determine yourself when you got no power? You know, you can powerfully say, right, I don't want this group of fish, I want that group. You can have power to say, I'm not going to drink water today, I'm going to drink that. You have that kind of power, but you don't have the power to jump on a plane and go to Jamaica or go to Africa or go to, you know, Zimbabwe or you don't have that type of power unless you got that type of money. You know what I'm saying? So that's a different type of power. That's financial power. You know what I'm saying? So that power there is not the same power that we're talking about when we're talking about sociability and the power of the black people in the West, you know, since slavery. And what I'm saying is that money isn't power and knowledge isn't power. So you can we got all these millionaires between all the athletes in America, you know what I'm saying, and all the celebrities in America and the actors in America. They must have about $1 trillion between them. Definitely over billions. And yet, there's not a school in there built by one of them. There's not a highway built by any of them. There's not a factory built by any of them. There's no place, there's nothing to sustain humanity that's built or is being sustained by any of them except like people like Akon who's gone to his country, and you know that's fine because the whole in Africa is so thoroughly, it's so deep. You know what I'm saying? That's like having, you know, a swimming pool and putting one drop from an earwax droplet into it and saying, yeah, I'm sorting stuff out. That's the chasm of disaster in America in Africa for black people. So when these guys like Oprah Winfrey says she builds a school and all these people, it's just a dropper. It's just an airdropper. You know what I'm saying? Just a little droplet in a swimming pool. In compared, like the rest of the swimming pool is empty. So when you do that, they're happy for you to do that because they know you're not really affecting anybody in any real way. That can't do nothing. You know, the people they go for is people like Gaddafi, who wanted to change, you know, the currency, who wanted to make sure that his people, you know, the people across Africa joined up and create an African Union. These are the people that they're scared of. They're not scared of nobody that's building no school. These are the people who had power, and then they go after him and murdered him. You stand no chance, you know what I'm saying? Like, whether you want to believe it is doom or not, this is just reality. If it's raining, it's raining. You can do that, you know what I'm saying? As long as you got love in your heart, you will recognize it from the love you have. But a lot of you are mean-spirited, and you pretend you hide behind, you know, Africanism, and you hide behind all this, and your inner spirit is quite mean. You're very, you know, a lot of you are very self-centered and all about you. You've learned the European way of self, not the joint self. Not the united self, but the individual self. You know what I'm saying? You've all fallen into that particular category and spell. Not all, obviously, but a lot of people, and they still think they're promoting, Africanism or that's not the way. If you're promoting homosexuality, you're not promoting the African way. You know what I'm saying? If you're supporting a monotheistic God, you know what I'm saying? That means a one God. You're not supporting the African way. There's lots of things that you're not doing, but everybody reconfigures whatever's happening to them to suit whatever they have to deal with, because a lot of people are coward. A lot of people just don't have the nerve. You know what I'm saying? So in order to feel comfortable with themselves, they reconfigure stuff to suit how they can live this life. How they can. I get that. It's not, I'm not knocking that. I'm just saying, don't lie to yourself and then try to convince people that you're on something great. And all you're really doing is just lying to yourself, because you're backing out of the fight to really defend yourself as a human being, because at the end of the day, you just want to eat, live and sleep. You know what I'm saying? Or in order to feel good about yourself, you might even want to pray or some shit like that. But in terms of getting anywhere with it, you're not getting nowhere. You know what I'm saying? You're not helping anybody. You know what I'm saying? We're not in a position where people are saying, oh yeah, over the last year, can you see how positive it's got for black people over the last... No, all you've got is a lot more people in jobs. You had a president for 8 years, the highest office probably in the European land. And what did black people get out of it? A whole bunch of, rights for homosexual and transgenders. And also, as soon as you start to talk, they attack you. They are violent people. They will come, they went after Galaxy's network because they started to talk about homosexuality. They will do anything to defend their own thing. And then you've just got to feel good, oh, they're doing it by law. They're not doing it by law. Their law is two-faced. Their law is dual standard. You know what I'm saying? Poor people get a fucked up law, and then and the rich people get the best lawyers they possibly... is that some kind of humanity there that you lot are looking at? Or is that just the way it is? They created that because the people who run the planet are a small minority of people who are violent, you know what I'm saying, aggressive, two-faced, and they're brutal. They're brutal and they have vile ways. They have disgusting ways when it comes to people, but they hide it very, very well. Good morning. How are you? Da-da-da-da. Then they stab you in They're smiling in your face all the time. They want to take your place. The backstabbers. That kind of vibe. And when you hear that, you think, oh, it's just about black people. No. We learned that whole backstabbing thing from the European agenda. The European agenda have come in for many, many years, ripping black people off for hundreds of years. Where are you finding this forgiveness? And I'm not saying hate them. I'm just saying I would never forgive them. I'd never ever forgive them. You know what I'm saying? I don't hate them. I'm just never going to forgive them. Hundreds of years of torture, rape, brutalizing, sodomy, stealing, murder. Every disgusting thing that you can think happened to man happened to a group of black people because of what? Because of what? What did they do? They just were. They just existed.
Hi, Dr. X. I'm Jack.
Hi.
Yeah, I've been listening to your show, and basically got interested. I'm recording it, and I will convert this show on YouTube, and I'll make that clear. And after you talked about that bit, the homosexuality bit. Now, you talk about the radio as well. Now, what happens is there's a new radio station. I'm not going to name its name because of legal reasons. He has his own radio station. He was got sacked from the mainstream station. He can use the F word. He can use the S word. It's non-Ofcom regulated. And he could probably go against homosexuality. But because it's a white man's country, they won't be able to go after him. They will not. But when a black man says it, they will. Or when an Asian man says it, or when a Turkish man says it, they will go after me. Some of the things that I commented about homosexuality, they nearly came in the house and they was like, where's Burchak? Where's Burchak? The authorities. A lot of things that I said, they said, where's Burchak? But I can't say more because of what had happened yesterday. It's now going to create more worse in our freedom of speech. And obviously, they're doing different things. There's general elections. So there's so many burden now on my shoulder. And I'm trying to stop hate crime. I'm trying to be one of the people that stops hate crime. I know that the white race has done a lot, but not all. I can't say that not all white people are bad, but I'm trying to stop hate crime. But there are powers, they shut down my group. So I'm actually in the ladder right now, and I'm trying to look for another voluntary job. I've been upset. I'm here right now, and I'm sad, but I'm trying to join in the struggle to look for something else. I'm not trying to back away, because if I back away, then I'll be in the corner, and then it will be more depressed, and then I'll start feeling pain, and then I'll die from pain. So, as I get older, now my whole body will hurt, and other things will hurt, and I will start to be jointless, and then I'll die endlessly. So I'm thinking, well, how can I get out of this? But you talk about business. Business doesn't help anyone. I mean, right now there are organisations that would ask you for £1,000 a month to let you talk out in the media, and they don't say what they want to say. I mean, I just bought a brand of earphones, Doctah X. They say 8 hours, wireless earphones, but you know what? They con you. 4 hours. It's actually 4 hours, but they con you. 8 hours. There you are. They con you. They want to buy the stuff, and then what happens for £17? They say 8 hours. Oh, it's so great. It's not great. It's not the best.
Okay.
And I can't say the company's name again because I don't want to, after the things that happened yesterday, I don't want to backlash. So I just have to leave it at that.
I hear you, but I tell your business if you don't answer them. You know what I'm saying? The bottom line is that you only have a limited time to be able to say anything free anyway. Like I said, the fear, fear will destroy you anyway. You know what I'm saying? But like, you do what you want to do and do it in the way you want to do it. As far as I'm concerned, whatever you're doing is what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever I'm doing is what I'm doing. But unless you're going to add to this thing, unless you're going to give me something other than, your...
I'm trying. I'm not the full solution, but I'm trying to put
that's cool. I mean,
shows on YouTube.
I'm sure I'm doing that too. I'm sure I'm doing that too. That's why I'm here, and I know a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? Who's doing stuff in their own way. So, you won't be. You're not the only one out there. You know what I'm saying? But it's not for you to take it on your.
No.
Grabbing phones on the road. I'm not that guy. You know what I'm saying? But they highlight that and then it falls back on me, whether or not I'm that guy or not. So I'm saying that if they do it to me, why can't I do it back to them? You know what I'm saying? Like, they throw so much things into the mix to try and stop you from fighting back. There's just, there's always something, and they always know best. White people and their white philosophies they always know best. They always give you something to pacify you. You know what I'm saying? And people are scared. You have no doubt about that. Black people are scared. They're scared of white people, and they're scared of what they can do to their financial space, and they are. I've seen so much bowing and so much, groveling. You know what I'm saying? I would have thought we were still in slavery. I mean, there's one time I can remember where it wasn't kind of like that. But over the last 15 years, I've watched black people really become like just modern day slaves, just like bowing and, you know what I'm saying, and shaking just so they can have a pretty shoes or a pretty car, or, they'll bow and they'll scrape and claim that they're being clever, like they're using their brains. And actually, no, you're not, because you still have no power. It's no good using your brains if you don't get no power. If your people are not worth anything, if they're still not...
I heard about the pastors. They're still doing what they're doing. The black pastors, they're conning the pastors that they're conning people with their mercs and the stages and this and that. But I just hope that someone just please waken up and stops them from doing what they're doing and conning the people. And you know what I mean? At least I'm awake of it, and that's why I don't pay none of these people any money, because I know. Because I know they say you get into the thing of God and this and that.
We're not going on to that, sir. We're not going on to that right now. But I get you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but at least I'm woken up about. But I can't go too much more in it. But they've already shut us down. So they already shut our organisation down. So I'll stop there. But keep up the good show, and I'll just keep listening. I'll just send texts. You want to read them out, you're willing to. If you don't, then it's all right. I love your show. Bye.
Thank you.
Peace. I'm out.
All right. Bye. Thanks you for that. I don't want to drift off too much. because I won't get to say what I'm saying if I start talking about church and whatever. And a lot of the times, we can't even seem to manage our own self and our own instincts and our own control. You know what I'm saying? We're as a group of people, the education which they're giving us. You know, the Sun newspapers talked about a few years back about 2000, I think it was about 2005, the dumbing down of a nation. So it's not. They're not just dumbing down black people. Black people are always second rate anyway. They're dumbing down the nation in order to be able to control. The same people they dumb down to tell you that African people who they were enslaving and treating like dogs and animals and using their carcasses to do whatever they wanted to. They convinced their people that was right. The same way they convinced the people of Germany that to destroy the black Jews, you know what I mean, or the dark-skinned Jews of America was good. And they only highlight and they only show you the light-skinned Jews. You know what I'm saying? As if there was never, all the Jews are always white. Now, if they're a Semitic people, it means that they're half Semitic. Semi already from the Greek means half. How, if they were half brown, that means that they would have been brown. So if they were brown, how comes all the Jews now white? You know what I'm saying? This is a question you need to ask yourselves. How comes they're Russian now? White Russian. Because all the black Russians have been murdered off. I don't think most of you have any idea of what's going on this planet, because you're only focusing on what you can get for yourself. They're powerful. White people are super, double, triple powerful. You have no power. And again, I'm saying, if anybody thinks that we have, is 07931 276 232. If anybody feels that we have any power and would like to explain this power to me that I've missed, you feel free to. You know what I mean? Because again, given the onset of the internet and stuff like that, you know, people's focuses are now spread out wide and everybody's on something different and and, you know, it's kind of fun to just listen to foolishness and concentrate on this and have men swearing and motherfuckers. Them Americans are some demons. They can swear, man. They can swear. They talk about this filth, motherfucking this and motherfucker, mother. Everything is bitch and mother. I mean, the poison that they've put across the black world with this music, because most of this stuff has come through the hip hop music. Not that it didn't come through the comedy as well, but the media that we have is music. Yeah, there's medias that we have: music, comedy. You know what I'm saying? And what we see, blah, 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 maybe some television. And white people control that. And then they tell you only to sing what they want you to sing. Only to act the way they want you to act. Because if you do a movie with a black hero, you know what I'm saying? They control the distribution of the movies. All over, the white people control all the racists. Because remember, America is racist. It's not, oh, maybe it wasn't. It's always been racist. It was founded on racism. You know, I'm lost. The naivety of black people and the conformity of all these people trying to make money off of the movie set colors and all that. It's just trying to make money. You have these people have no intention of people being liberated. They're scared to death, most of them. Of the liberation of black, because it means people will have to go to jail or dead. You know what I'm saying? They don't want that. They just want to make money and live out their little the little lifestyle that they have. You know what I'm saying? And everybody's saying, have you seen color? What is it called? Something colors or whatever the case may be. Have you seen that? You don't know what they're doing. They're blocking. As we speak now on the internet, they're blocking certain. They're blocking people so that people can't pick me up, because you don't know they're doing it, because they're not going to do it so that you know. You know what I'm saying? So you think, oh, I just can't get you. You know what I'm saying? But they've actively engulfed if they think that you have too much of an influence. They're not an upfront group. They're a secret group of people that act in secrecy. You know what I'm saying? They sold off BET, for those of you who can hear, they sold off BET to a white organization who then, since then, you haven't heard of those two people, which means that in American laws and the way that means they can't compete. Somewhere in their non-disclosure, they can't disclose what was the part of the contract. They're so secretive because they're about control. That's why there's always secrets in everything they do. Oh, you're not allowed to disclose this by law or by contract, because they make it up to protect these usurpers and these controllers. They make the laws up to protect the ones who are looking to destroy humanity. And it's the ones who are looking to destroy humanity that makes these types of laws that protect them. That protect them from the vile things they're going to do to people. You know, just the other day, BT, bought out T-Mobile, EE. They just bought. So now we've got BT owns two of the biggest, the biggest mobile. And how did the system let that happen? Because they can. Because this is where the power lies. All the powerful people are in amongst them to make that happen. If I tried to do that, if I was BT, your mind, they'd never give me that monopoly. They'd rather kill me first. They're not fair. These not fair people. They got bombs that kill you while you sleep. They got diseases that in the air to kill just strictly black people. They've made them strictly. What's the fucking disease that kill white people? Just white people alone. There ain't no disease because white people are not concentrating on disease to kill white people. They're concentrating not that they don't concentrate to kill people, but just not to kill white people alone. Because until they got their use of them, of course they don't want to kill them. They're one of them, and their people reside mostly amongst whites. So obviously they're not going to make it easy to kill whites because some of the strongest people, the powerfulest people, ain't going to want to die. But they know most of these powerful people ain't black. So yeah, let's make a disease that kills just black people in the laboratory. It's not like these diseases are real diseases. These are diseases formed by governments and people with money to kill black people, to steal their land, to steal their resources. Every time you find out something, coconut oil, cocoa butter, whatever, they greet each other like black people in the ghetto do. They tap fists. They call it cultural appropriation. It ain't cultural appropriation. They're getting rid of you. They're stealing. You know what I'm saying? They're taking your culture and giving you back squat. And giving one and two of them, like the Oprah Winfreys of the world, or the LeBrons of the world, or the Jordans of the world, you get what I'm saying? Or the Dr. Dre's of the world, a bag of money, or the Birdmen of the world, the P. Diddy's of the world. You know what I'm saying? They're giving them a bag of money just to sedate everybody else. You know what I mean? Birdman, as a multi-millionaire, still throwing up gang signs. This man's he's crazy. You know what I mean? You're a multi-millionaire and all you got to offer the people them with that amount of money is gang signs and gang violence. Still, you're so far out of the ghetto, it's ridiculous. But you're still selling people ghetto life and killing and talking about niggers and talking about bitches that you're going to get them and you're going to kill niggers and look at this, you nigger. And this vile oppressive mindset that you use on other blacks because you believe that you owe them, some of them bought your tunes. But what's happening is that with some of the music, as I've told you many times, I'm going to keep telling you, some of the music is being bought by the same people because they're investing in the destruction of black people. So the music ain't even really being bought. It's just there sitting down and then they're buying back their own music and creating a circle of events to keep this negativity, circulating through at the black community where people only want to claim their living life by, drinking this and, Moe and Bollinger and all that and think they're living life. And these are guys that still live with their mums. These are guys that live in council flats and barely can, like Stormzy says on the track. You know what I'm saying? Big whip but no electric, bad boys. You know what I mean? That means that you got a big car, but you can barely find electric for your yard. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to electric, you got to go to someone else's yard because you got the big whip. You know what I'm saying? You got a nice crisp car, but you can't, you know what I mean? You go to your yard and you ain't got enough money to put in an electric meter. This is the type of people, this is the way we're living. So we're diseased as a people in terms of the logistics of life itself. We are a diseased people. And none of these people are talking about that because they want to talk to you about love and positivity and all this and eat healthy, right? And they'll charge you a little bottle of drink, a little 250ml bottle of drink will cost you something like £3-4. You know what I'm saying? I think, whoa, you can get the same, for, or something else made, but obviously factory made for 90p. Why is it your overheads are so damn low, but your prices are so damn high? Because they just add it because they're as greedy as the white man. And nobody wants to say white man anymore, obviously, because somehow they've managed to outlaw the term, because otherwise you're racist. And I'm saying, I'm not racist, I'm race aware. And I'm only talking about what's the difference I've seen between what's happening for white people and what they do. It doesn't matter if you got white friends at work. That doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if your white friend takes you out for dinner. Doesn't matter if your mum's white and you're mixed race. None of that matters. What matters is when we look at ourselves, on the whole, we realise that they do not like us all over the planet, not just in England, and everything they do is racist. You know what I'm saying? They can't make a movie. They were saying the other day they couldn't make this movie about the black gods because they couldn't sell a movie with Muhammad Rare with a mate. This is what one of the racist filmmakers said. He couldn't sell a movie with a star called Muhammad so and so and so. But what about Wesley Snipes? What about Denzel Washington? What about all the other black art? Why would he need to be called Muhammad? See what I'm saying? So they're racist. He didn't say, oh, we wouldn't be able to sell a movie if we gave Denzel Washington the lead role. They didn't say that. They said Muhammad. Why would he need to be called Muhammad? When there's enough black actors in a Hollywood America where you made it that you could have used. Which nobody was going, oh, no, where's Muhammad? Nobody would be asking you where Muhammad is. They'll say, well, at least you use black actors. So they lie, to promote their racism. They sell racist to racist viewers. The only way they couldn't make that movie is because other white people who are also racist, who also only want to see white people, wouldn't watch it. So I'm saying, so that must mean that the clientele that they're selling to is also racist. If the producer and the distributor and the film company is promoting racism, then also the people who are watching it are also racist because they're making it for a racist crowd. A crowd that can only appreciate white people as stars. Isn't it? That just goes without saying, but nobody's going to see that because all your powerful people of America, all your powerful people of Britain, apart from some, are scared. They just want to get into the job and do what they're told. They do as they're told. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I was saying to you that every time black people join any organization, they swallow them up and they become just like a white person. They have no use to black people. And then they start saying things like, I'm a black MP, or I'm a MP that just happens to be black, or I'm a president first and the black person's, all that kind of stuff. But while they're getting there, the black vote, they're dying for you to support them. I'm saying they're not telling the truth. And so the whole fabric of their system is based upon lies and corruption. So that must mean they have an agenda. If they have to lie all the time, if they have to create people with names like spin doctors and all that, means that you lie, you spin the truth, which means that you learn to lie. That means that they have an agenda. If they've got all these things as normalities, but you can't spin. If I try to spin something, then something's wrong with me. There's one law for white people and another invisible law for black people. You understand what I'm saying? Most people who are racially aware, not racist, but racially aware, know that there's a difference. You know what I'm saying? Most people who are racially aware know that most of the communities that black people live across the globe is only run by Asians. Every community, there's hardly any communities across the entire globe. That means across the entire planet. Yeah, there's no community that isn't run by some sort of Asian. Whether it's a Caucasian, whether it's a Korean Asian, whether it's a Chinese Asian, whether it's an Indian Asian, whether it's a Pakistani Asian, whether it's a Bangladeshi Asian, it doesn't matter what Asian, most of the black communities are run, by Asians. Yeah? How is that then? That's a power base in itself. You know what I'm saying? So how is it that we consistently black people, so you turn on each other rather than look at how they're manipulating this thing? You know what I'm saying? We know they've manipulated because they've killed us in the name of, we've had successes, and every time we get a successful person, he dies. Or they die, or they bomb the town, or they riot. All this riot that you learn, the first rioters were white people. The first place we saw people just ripping down stuff was when white people came to the black towns and did that. Burnt down our towns and looted our stuff. White people did it to us first. So we got it in our head. It's a psychological thing. So every time we're going to do the same thing, we're going to do exactly what they did to us. It's in the genes. I'm trying to show you how this thing evolves. You know what I'm saying? The looting and the burning was done to black people by white people first. So when they turn around later on and pretend that they didn't know, because obviously their history is all lies and all fabricated to suit a particular purpose. So, why do they burn? It doesn't make sense that they burn down their own towns. And that doesn't make sense. Of course it doesn't. You know what I'm saying? Of course it doesn't make sense, but we're suffering from something that you taught us. You know what I'm saying? Why do they go around killing people in, drive-bys? That doesn't make sense. No, of course it doesn't make sense. But the first drive-bys we ever saw as slaves and as poor people was the Italians and the Irish and all that, murdering each other, driving by and just killing each other in their cars. That's the first set. We didn't have that. We weren't even allowed to drive. at a certain time. You know what I'm saying? So the first set of that was them. I mean, the first drug sellers was them, the CIA. They sold crack, they sold cocaine. Everything they did, they start and then turn around and go, look at these people. Because they put us in a category. Our educational category is fucked up. You know what I'm saying? They don't want us. That's why they want all the rich people to and have all the money to control. You know what I'm saying? It's not humane for one person to earn 200 million when you know what I mean, as a business, while the people that are working are working for 16 cents an hour. You know what I mean? The entire wage for the whole year comes up to £100 or £500 for the entire year for the workforce, and you've made 200 million. How is that humane? Oh, no, that's just business. So you see what I'm saying? So that's where it crosses over when we're talking about black people in business. If you're joining business and you haven't added nothing to it, and I don't know what to expect from you, because you're as bad as them. Because you're gonna then say, when you're ripping me off, it's business. You think you're allowed to sell me stale food. You think you're allowed to pay me the least amount of money that you possibly can, like somebody on the question and answer time saying to Corbyn, you know, I'm a small businessman. You know what I'm saying? Why should I vote for you when you've raised it to £10 an hour and da-da-da? He don't want to pay nobody nothing. He just wants to make profit so he can buy a yacht. He can buy the biggest car he has, 2 or 3 cars. You know what I'm saying? He can go on holiday whenever he feels like. He wants that life while you're struggling to make a living. That's what he wants. That's the new way of business. That's not the new way of business. That's always been the way of business. So that's why they kept poor people out of the way of business for a long time, until they can get poor people to think like them. You know, poor people like you have all the working class people that were once working class and took the courses or were good at plumbing or good at this and that and started their own business through the Margaret Thatcher era. They're as mean as everybody else. They're as mean as the original conservatives and liberals. They're mean-spirited. They don't want to share the wealth. They only want to have... Because capitalism doesn't mean, and privatization doesn't mean, that you must take all the wealth to yourself and pay people as little as you possibly can. That's not what privatization means. It means that you're the private owner. That means that you get a load of the profit. But it doesn't mean that you get all the profits and you make the people that working for you barely survive. So whilst we do better than some people do, it's in other countries, it's because we're in a more intelligently run country. Where the poor people are, they're earning they'll work a whole year and the entire wage will come to £100 for the whole entire year. And people are working that in sometimes in a couple of hours. Footballers are getting that in a couple of seconds. And people are just, walking around thinking, this is humanity. This is not humanity. You know what I'm saying? This is not humanity at all. If you don't want to live like this, then you ain't got no choice, actually. To tell you the real truth, you don't really have no choice. You got to take what's given, bro. You know what I'm saying? You can't do nothing. You can't do shit. I mean, no matter how rich you become, you're still going to be a nigger. You're still going to be a black cunt. They don't give a shit. And they're going to try and stop me and stop people like us for talking like this because they don't want this. It's true. That's all it is. They just don't want you to speak truthfully and claim it's offence, because there's going to be a whole bunch of black people now that have joined the system. They're saying, yeah, why is he speaking like that? Why is he swearing? Meanwhile, the comedian's still swearing. Meanwhile, they're swearing where they want them to swear. Meanwhile, you got Katie, what's her name? Katie Hodgkins or whatever, saying the most vile stuff, not swearing though, but just, saying what the fuck she likes and she's got jobs and people want to employ her. You think they want to employ me? Black people, the Voice, they run from me. All the other paper before that shut down, they all run. They're black papers, but they're scared of black people. You know what I mean? It's different if you're like nutcase saying, I'll murder all white people and kill everyone. If you're articulate and you can write a sentence and know where paragraph starts and stop and what full stop is, then what's wrong in you having something to say? If you have as me, as Doctah X, at that particular time, what I'm saying, a whole bunch of people were listening to me. What's wrong with me? No, you don't, doing something in the paper. No, you want the most passive person that you can find. You want the person that white people accept the most. You understand? That's the person you want. 15 years ago, people said to me, I should stop using the term white people. That was 15 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So we've been scared a very long time. 17 years. Oh, I'm talking more than that even. You know what I'm saying? On air. You know what I'm saying? Because now we're integrated. Now the new black is mixed race. Everybody wants to be, everybody wants to, everybody wants to talk about their black when it comes to the rhythm and the movements and the fluidity of black. But no, but when it comes to the money, the respect and the discipline about, they don't want that. They want the white one. People have become so infatuated with white people that they only want to date girls that have got white in them. You know what I'm saying? And if you look at it properly, I'm not saying anything's wrong with them. I'm just saying you got white in you, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? If you got, and a lot of us, even if you're dark skin, have white in you. That's not the clarity, but they think there's something about the fear of the white man that makes, if I'm with a lighty, I'm higher up the scale. So so clearly it's not a fair, and they won't allow you to speak. They won't give you real platforms to speak and to defend yourself. They won't do it because they're a corrupt society that lives in a corrupt way. You know what I'm saying? And they're looking to destroy black people across the globe, not just in England, not just in America. And what they want you to do is to join, assimilate into their culture. So when they're destroying black people, you're going, good, yeah, you lot smoke too much drugs, yeah, you lot killed each other. Meanwhile, they're selling this kill music, this murder music, this drug music, this criminal music that they're selling, that white people are promoting. White people and white companies owned by white men who are ex-plantation owners are selling to our communities. And then when you hear a decent song, maybe well-written song, it's written by a black homosexual. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying there's anything wrong, but what happened to the groups? What happened to the normal singers who could just sing normal songs, very intelligent? Why is it all of a sudden it's all being controlled in a particular way, as if nobody's doing it? As if it's all happening organically. It's not. White people are controlling music and they're giving you this filth music so that when they want to promote homosexuality the way they want it to, they can use black singers who, you know what I'm saying, who they want to promote homosexuality amongst blacks because their music is going to sound better than that shit music that you're fed up of hearing. They're very smart. Don't get it twisted. They're very, very far smarter than the average black man. Far, not the average, and far smarter than the average white man too. I'm just talking about the average. Far, 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 far smarter than that. So you're not going to see them coming when they're coming. You understand what I'm saying? This is not for you to be, you know what I mean? Yeah. And, they think, they go on the road and they go, yeah, the white man's the devil, and they take one bag of knives and yeah, white people. And the only reason why you can do that is because they allow you to do that. Because they know you're weak. There's nothing you can do because they're afraid that now they're going to use terrorism and say, well, if you start to say this, it's terrorism talk. And I told you this 15 years ago, I was telling you this. You know what I'm saying? That's why people still listen to me. 15 years ago, I was telling you this is what it was going to come to. They were going to turn normal talk to terror because they have their own agenda to destroy humanity. This is not humanity. This is a version of it that they're using to destroy humanity itself. And I don't know, I haven't come to a proper conclusion as to the reason why as yet. But I can tell you they didn't start. I feel for a start, where I start from is that they don't originate here. They hate us and they hate this planet. This is a solar planet born out by the solar people when the time before the ice caps where it was always green. If the place was always as brown, it was always sunlit, then that means that everybody on the planet would have been brown skinned. Everybody. There would not have been any pale skinned people that to hide from the shade. Everybody would have had enough UV protection built into their skin. You know what I'm saying? Melanin to protect them, you know what I'm saying? To help them, to nurture the sun. Not to use shade and all types of different hats to hide from the burning. You see some of the Italians and all that, they look like they're burnt red. They're supposed to be in the sun, but they look burnt. They don't look, you know what I mean? You can tell it's, as Italian or whatever, some of the, you know what I'm saying? Some of them, because they look burnt red. They don't look burnt. It's like there's no melanin in them. They're burnt. They couldn't have survived here for 2,000 years. You know what I'm saying? They would have killed them. The cancer would have murdered them off. You know what I'm saying? You have no, it's just no idea, basically. None. The whole way in which we go in terms of leadership is just entirely in the wrong direction. Because people have had, in amongst us, there are agents that are working for the development and the destruction of humanity. So, the sex that they're doing in Jamaica now, knowing that Jamaica, remember, Jamaica was just nice one time. Now the filth and the degradation that's coming out there, it's an attack. You know what I'm saying? It's an attack on the poor people. There's hardly any education there, and people are doing all this sex and calling it dancing. You know what I'm saying? Every week and every time I speak, I'll be saying around the same thing, because all of them are connected. So there's, whilst I talk about the subject of power, I'm still talking about how all of it is affected. You know what I'm saying? We're not gonna be able to break this. It's not a spell, whatever it is. We're not gonna be able to break it. You know what I'm saying? Because most of us are not race aware, and most of us are scared. Yeah. But the process that we should be like when you're talking about power for us as any America, you're talking about an industrial power. This is America now, how it rules the world. Military, you know what I'm saying? Political, so you know what I'm saying? Social. It has all these powers that makes them as a nation powerful. Now, name the ones that we have as a nation, or even as a race. Name them. We have none. Zero. And like I said, if anybody that's listening feels that it is something that they can mention, you know what I mean, then feel free. Feel free to mention a power that black people have. I'll give you a minute. How about that?
I got
07931276232.
all I want tonight, just get higher.
If you want to tell me what power black people have, what powers they've got, let me know. 07931276232. Talking about political, industrial, social, military power. That's what I'm talking about. Not power of speech. Not power of love. Power over your kids or your destiny.
Way to make a wish, not defending them. I meditate and moderate.
Just let me know.
Hanging on the fence again, I'm always on your.
So I'm saying, so if you ain't got, there was no calls. So I'm saying, so if you ain't got the answer to that, then that's it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if there's only 3 people listening, which I'm sure there is, more than that, you know what I'm saying? None of you have got the answer to that. You know what I'm saying? Out of 3. 0 out of 3 then. You know what I'm saying? Because there is none. In real terms, there is none. There is none. Just a sort of everyday person's aspect of it. There just isn't any. You're going to make some stuff up and say, oh, we're this and we're that. But in reality, we're a powerless people. We have no power. Everything we've done, we have to beg permission from the white men to do. You're not going to win a war with that. You're not going to move forward with that. You're not going to do anything but just be a sucker for that. You know what I'm saying? You have no choice. You understand what I'm saying? You have no choice. They will give you no choice. You know what I'm saying? And they will just shut down each year, each decade. You'll have less and less to say, and you'll have more and more kids that you're breeding amongst them to be their slave. You know what I'm saying? Because this type of economic is slavery. You understand what I'm saying? Millions, people are sitting on millions, while the people that are working for them are sitting on pennies. That is not capitalism at its best. Everything they touch, they corrupt. You know what I'm saying? Everything they touch, they fuck it up. They're a corrupt breed. So capitalism is messed up. You know what I'm saying? They don't share the wealth. And I don't mean that they're not going to. Of course, they're making profit. They're making excess upon excess upon excess. Of course, a small businessman is not making that. Because he's trying to be like the big businessman overnight. He wants to start and pay his workers pittance, even though he come from working class. The working class who become like the rich, they're no different. They want to give you, their mothers and dads were labour working class people, and they want to give you shit as well. They want to give you pittance. They don't want you to have no money. They want to have the big cars too. They want to have the big houses too. You're only going to get that by abusing people of their money and of their work ethic. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to win with that system.
Hello? Hello? Yeah. I know. Can you hear me okay? Your line goes a bit ruffled, but...
Clearly.
Yeah, great. Yeah. No, thank you for running the show. I think you've got a lot of interesting points to say. I listen to your show sometime. I just wanted to take up your point where you're saying that African people have no power. If I could present a humble argument.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
To that. Hello?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, yeah, I want to challenge that argument. My views are probably very different to many of my black or African brothers and sisters. But I would say that African people, African nations. I'm not talking about Caribbean people here or people in Britain as 2%. I would say if you take somewhere like South Africa, Nigeria, Malawi, even Caribbean nations, for example, they have a huge amount of power. I'll go and explain. I don't think it's just not having power. I think people we choose not to exercise it. I can give you lots of examples. One, Nigeria is going on nearly 200 million. Ethiopia is on 100 million. There's nothing stopping Nigeria invading all the nations surrounding it, or even South Africa taking them over. Yes, there's lots of nations that wouldn't like it.
Bruv, don't yes, because no, you can't say yes, because that means I agree. No, because they're stopping them. You've got the United Nations stopping them, and you've got Africa, you've got America and its interest in the surrounding colonies to stop. They don't have that type of power. They don't have the military power to stop America. If America says you can't go into that country, they don't have the military power to back them to stop them going into that country. So no, they don't have that power.
Okay, let me just give me give me a minute to just finish my argument. You're saying they don't have.
Sir. So hold on. But I'm sorry. I'm just going to make it clear. I'm not going to stop you, but I need to make it clear.
Okay.
You're not giving an argument. You're actually just making a statement which is inaccurate. That's what I'm saying. That's not the same as.
No, you're absolutely wrong. Okay, you're absolutely right. It's not a statement. Okay. Go on. Sorry, I'm waiting to finish.
No, yeah, because it's not about if we're discussing something, you can't just make a whole set of statements and because then they're presented as facts if they're just unchallenged statements. You said that they have power, but they choose not to exercise it, and they could invade. This is what you said. They could invade the surrounding countries, and I said no, they can't. I said they don't have the military power to stop America stopping them from invading. That's why nobody did anything when they invaded Libya. They don't have that type of power. So you're assuming they have power and they're not using it, but they might have military, but they don't have the military capability to challenge America and America's friends. See what I'm saying? So I'll let you carry on, but if you're going to make statements, they have to be backed up by something that you know as a fact. If you know how much military that the Africans have got in comparison to the Americans, or comparison to the Russians, or comparison to the Chinese, then say that. Then I go, oh, see, I never knew that. But don't just say it as a blanket statement just because you just feel that way about it, because it doesn't work that way. Let's carry on anyway.
Okay. Thank you. I fundamentally disagree. Okay, but let me at least present my argument. I'm not making it. Carry on. Yeah, I'm not making emotional statements about. These are things I've thought through seriously. Yeah, I agree that if tomorrow, say South Africa, just pick this up for example, was to take on the 9 frontline states in South Africa. There's 9 states that border South Africa, much smaller countries, which they could invade if nobody else intervened. Yeah? We agree that. If America didn't intervene, they could take over those countries. We're not in disagreement on that point. Yes, Americans don't like it. America's got a much bigger military. America can obliterate
Right. If they have no interest in there, yes, of course they can. Absolutely. I get that. Yeah. But remember, we're talking about white power over black power. We're not talking about black power. Remember, we've got to keep it on point.
Okay.
We cannot use, and we've got to keep the argument within its context. Otherwise, it makes something seem like it's not. The context is white power over black people, and black people are powerless against them. Not black people are powerless because I explained about power of love and these other types of power. I'm talking about power to self-determine and do what you want to do for your own, the best interest. I'm talking about that. So, if the best interest of America is in, say, I don't know, one of the surrounding countries because of the deposits of gold or whatever, then they will not allow you to invade that country. But if it's some country that's, I don't know, it's a whole bunch of villages which is not of no purpose to them, then yeah, you can invade that. They won't stop you from that. You know what I'm saying? So we've got to keep it in its context.
Dr. X, I understand what you're saying. This is just the way you live it. This is a deep that goes back deep over my bit of land, over your bit of land, my tribe over your tribe. It's a much deeper argument. What I'm saying is, I'm arguing that African people have a lot of power to influence their own lives. And I can explain, I can present my argument as I would before any court.
Yeah, go on.
Yes, the military of, say, South Africa or Nigeria is much smaller than some of America. So American interests, I think America should take over Ghana, make it one country, and it becomes a much more powerful country between Ghana and Nigeria. There's no point in Ghana standing on its own. That doesn't make no sense to me. So Nigeria tomorrow, talk to the Ghanaian government, have a peaceful unification of the two countries, become one country, same passport, bigger economy. If the governments can't agree, then they just take over the country. Ghana's too small to resist. America will come in. We don't like that. So America then takes on Nigeria. Yeah, military, America is much more powerful, for example, or Britain or France or any of them, and can wipe out Nigeria. But that's not the end of the argument. That's not the end of war. War is much more than that. They can drop a bomb, blow up their country, obliterate all the oil, obliterate everybody, but then you have to fight a guerrilla war. If people of Nigeria said, we want this, you'd have to wipe out every Nigerian. 200 million people have got to go. Mm-hmm. That's a different situation to the simple narrative. Yeah, let's just, Ghana, what Nigeria should do this. It's going to do this. America don't like it. The capital says, yeah, we're going to send this topic. It's not that simple.
But sir, what you're talking about is assumed power.
I'm talking about Nigeria, which is predominantly 99.9%. A Nigerian government taking over another country.
Yeah, but what my argument is, sir, is that the power, we're talking about powerful and powerless. Yeah? If you have, I'm here. Obviously, there's a name, like a certain amount of watts or ohms or stuff that, I've forgotten what the actual term is for the energy, that my output of energy, yeah? If you electrify my energy, I have a certain output of energy. Right? So I obviously have power. But I will not be able to lift a 4-ton truck by my, physically. 10 of us probably could do it, or 15 of us together probably could. The combined energy could do that. So the time when Gaddafi tried to unite the nations and tried to create a united African nation, they invaded his country, tore his country down, smashed up what he was trying to do, and killed him. So I'm saying, this is what I'm trying to say to you. So it's, if you was listening earlier on, I'm saying we are, so even if I have that power, I am not powerful because I can't use that power. It's no good assuming, you say, boy, if X wanted to punch me in my face, he would. So how does that work out? If I'm scared to punch you in the face, but I'm a kung fu expert or whatever, or world champion, but if I'm scared to punch you in the face, me having that power is just saying, he can punch you in your face, but he isn't. You know what I'm saying? It's a pointless argument. It means that we're going to still be in the same position because we're not. It's no good assuming and making up all these facts because none of them, they're not doing. Anybody that was doing something, let's look at somebody who tried something, which was Gaddafi. Look what happened to him. So they've instilled the fear. They've instilled the fear amongst the rest of the colonies, the rest of the group, to say, well, if you step out of place, we're going to Norman Shangarai. There's so many different things happening where they're founding people that they want to be able to do their bidding. I'm saying that the types of war that needs to be had. If Nigeria was so, whatever, there wouldn't be millions of Nigerians are leaving Nigeria every year, millions of them. Because the country cannot regulate itself in a way to keep... Millions of people ain't leaving America. Millions of people aren't leaving Australia.
Yeah, but your argument isn't about whether people are leaving the country, whether people are poor. Your argument was about whether black people have power and how we exercise that power. And I was giving you an example of how we can do that at a national level.
How we can do it. You're talking about how something that... Your submission is about an assumption. You're assuming that they can do that.
No, it's not.
No, it's got to be because they're not doing it. You can't say they're doing it and they're not doing it because they have the power to do it, but they're not doing it. We're talking about... we're clear that
Let me
America...
finish.
Yeah, go on.
No, I was saying, listen, probably like when you have a debate, I was putting the boundaries here. Tomorrow, people can do A, B, and C. Yes, there's reasons why the Nigerian people don't do it. People are frightened, people are this. But that's not the same as being powerless. If they choose to exercise that, I would call it will. Most black countries don't have the national will to do what they need to do. So the country as a whole don't have the will to do this.
Sir.
But that doesn't mean that, Ellen, that doesn't mean that they're powerless. And let me just say, when it comes to nations and fighting wars, it's much more complicated than simply, you can invade my country and it's over. Listen, Japan has got no army. All Japan has to do, Japan's formed allegiance with the right country. China, Taiwan's the same. Taiwan couldn't defend itself. It's right next to China. But China won't go into Taiwan because America's saying, listen, you go to Taiwan, we'll do this. China's saying we're going to Taiwan. And they're smack in between that. So as a government, as a nation, it's your job to form national allegiance and use strategies to maneuver the nation.
Right, but...
it's not simply you've just got a bigger army.
I hear that, but...
So therefore, it's game over.
No, I just use that.
Countries are not that simple. That's a very simplistic approach.
I heard that. I heard that. And if you listen to me, I didn't use just the military. I just used that to defend this particular argument. I said it's your industry, yeah? It's the level of your control of your industry, it's your social control, and it's your political control. Yeah, that's what power is. Remember, I said separate from any other type of power. I said this if you didn't hear at the beginning, so let's not get it confused. The reason why I use military is to show you that power... You can have power and be powerless. That's what powerless is. If you're saying somebody, there's 10 people. Sorry, 10 people.
Okay.
10 people are standing.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Okay, go on.
No, it's cool. But it needs to be on point. As long as it's on point. 10 people are standing watching their friends being murdered. They have the power, but they are powerless at that moment to do anything about it. Because the other...
How would they be powerless to do anything?
Because at the moment, it's at that moment, isn't it? It's at that moment in time.
But if 10 friends watch their friend be murdered and they go in and they die, are they still powerless?
What do you mean?
I don't understand.
No, you're just making up...
You might die. You might have a war. You might go into a country and you might lose the war. That's the history of nation states.
What I'm saying,
nation states is all about war anyway, and winning and losing and strategizing and forming allies.
No, that's different. If you're fighting a war, we're not talking about that because there's no war being fighting.
But when I'm giving the example about someone like Nigeria, it's got 200 million people. It could mobilize a people's army tomorrow and make moves across Africa.
That's a make-believe scenario. We're talking about what is and what's reality. There is nobody...
But why is that not a real thing, Alan? Why is that not a real thing?
Because it's not
happening.
What's
unreal about it?
It can only be happening if it's... It can only be real if it's happening. You can't say, I've got the power to make £1 million if I just did this. I'm not doing it, so it's not happening. So that's not real. That's a make-believe. So either they're doing it or they're not. If you say to me, tomorrow Africa's moving into, I don't know, Botswana, I'm sorry, Nigeria's moving into Botswana to do a coup, then that would be happening. But you say that, if you go and then say, well, tomorrow, you never know, maybe, one day, possibly, you never know, possibly one day.
No, that's not what I'm saying. You're completely misunderstanding what I'm saying. You're completely misunderstanding. No.
Go again.
Listen, okay. Just let me make my point for a minute. You have to answer the question for a minute. Just give me 20 seconds. Taiwan lies right next to China. China is incredibly powerful. We all accept that. Incredibly powerful. Nobody's going to touch China. It's game over. But China is not going to invade Taiwan, right? Because America's got so much force, and it's the small little nation there between the two extensions. So do we say Taiwan's powerless? Do we say China's powerless? Do we say America's powerless to take Taiwan? Nobody's going to go take Taiwan because of the consequences for the two big superpowers. So when you're talking about power and you're saying, well, it's not happening, Taiwan's not being invaded by anybody.
Right, that's so...
Because the consequences are too... I'm not a political analyst and I'm not an expert, but the consequences are too great.
Right,
but that doesn't mean that Taiwan is powerless because they're not being invaded.
No, that's not what we're talking about.
No, but I'm showing you about power. When you make the statement that African nations are all powerless, and every African nation around is powerless. I'm giving you evidence. I'm giving you reasons and arguments that I can produce.
Right, I got that.
I can give you examples of all across the world and in the history of mankind to support the logic of what I'm saying.
Right, and it's great. And I mean, the logic is...
People, listen, Russia, let me just say, Russia, under the Tsar, you could say the people was powerless. But the Russian people says, we've had enough. Then the Russian, the Revolutionary Army and, you know, the whole history of Russia, the Russian people, the Red Army became incredibly powerful. And look what happened in Russia.
Right,
so to say that it didn't happen doesn't mean that the Russian people were powerless or had no power. For whatever reason, they put up with the old system under the Tsar, etc., etc.
Powerless. You know, let's break down what powerless means, yeah?
No, but we'll put it in a political context and give me examples of nations, because I can give you examples of nations in the history of national politics.
Right, you just gave me Taiwan, right? And you said that it's not powerless, right? But it depends on what it wants to do. If it wants to, does it want to invade China? Does it want to change the nation state of China? Does it want to stop China from affecting its growth, its GDP? Then it is powerless to do that. That's what I'm saying to you. It's like, you can't just make stuff up. You know what I'm saying? But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about black people and African nations being powerless against their white colonialist enterprises. That's what we're talking about. Not, you know, not it's so complex in terms of power. So we have to regulate, and we have to make sure we're talking about a specific point within power. And what I'm saying is that they're powerless. Is that the shell has got so much money invested in Africa, you know what I mean? And they're not paying the people right. The diamonds in Africa, they're paying the cocoa in Africa. They're paying the people them pittance. They're powerless to change that monetary rate. They're powerless to do anything about their GDP because most of it is being controlled by the West. So I'm not saying they want to do something about it, but they can't. That's the difference. It's not like they're just sitting like Italy sitting there and they're going, oh, we're sending our apples to England. It's not a problem. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, they haven't got nothing to have an angst about, to be powerless. So you can always have power, but it's not, you don't have no power. It means you have less power. So powerless just means there's power with less of it. Powerful means there's power to the maximum of it. That's what it means. So if you're talking about powerless, a lot of the African countries are powerless because they want to do a lot of stuff and can't do it. There's a difference between sitting there not giving a shit and then sitting there wanting, I wish our wages would go up. I wish I didn't have to send my children out who, you know, 6 and 7 year olds to pick cocoa. I'm sure they don't. They say, oh, I'm happy to be paid, you know, less than a minimum wage. You know, like I'm happy for my child to earn, you know, $7 a month. You know what I mean? Picking cocoa. And I'm sure they're not happy with that. You know what I'm saying? So, but then you need a white man to come in and create something like, what they call it, the fair trade. And then ups it a little bit, only a little bit, not that much. And then say, look what we're doing, we're creating a fair. So he has the power to change it. You didn't change that. There weren't no war to fight that. He just got a conscience. So I'm saying, so that's where you're... Yeah.
Dr. X, do you distinguish between a person not choosing to do something and a person being totally unable to do something? A person may choose not to slap somebody in the face, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have the power to do it. Do you see a difference, or do you think they're the same thing?
Yeah, but remember, we're talking about nationhood power.
No, but on the point of power,
yeah,
so you would say Nigeria has no power over a country of 200 million people, rich oil resources, massive land, language, culture. That's not a powerful tool in the hand of a government.
You're changing it. You're changing the dynamics. You're changing the confines.
No, I'm just trying to get you to be clear and commit.
No, it's not about that. It's not about whether
you said African people across the world are powerless, and I said no, they're not.
Against who? Put it in context. We weren't talking about they're powerless, they can't do nothing. Okay,
well, let me put my argument in context. Let me put what I mean in context. Let me put what I mean in context.
Because I don't know if you hear because sometimes people jump in the middle and they don't hear all the argument from the beginning, and then they add all this stuff to it. That's not what I said. I said from the beginning, yeah? We're talking about socio-political power. We're talking about power, military, economic. I said all that at the beginning. So it's clear what I'm talking about. We're talking in regards to the Europeans, not in regards to having no power at all or powerless, in regards to European slavery and colonialism. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about they don't have no power whatsoever.
So the power you're referring to, is it with reference to slavery and colonialism?
Sir, if you was listening, that's what I laid down what I was going to say from the beginning. But if you're not, if you did,
no, I wasn't listening to the beginning. I listened. I heard the last half hour of your show.
Oh, do you see what that is? Doesn't help, does it? Because then I can't keep repeating the same.
Yeah, but yeah, okay. Well, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Let me just tell you where I'm coming from. That is okay. Slavery and colonialism. That's a much more controversial debate. I'm talking about the author. And most black countries in the world,
right? Because they've been colonized. This is going back before then. You know, like I said, I went to the diamonds, I went to the cocoa, I went to the material. They're rinsing out these countries, and the people them that who quote unquote.
Stop. You think the government can't do anything about these foreign nationals doing anything?
They can. They just don't. Then let's put it that way. Then they can, but they don't. So,
okay. Well, I understand that. For lots of reasons they don't. Okay. Right. So that's called national management.
So going back to what I said. So they're powerless. You know what I'm saying, if you can't do
something, if you choose to do something, okay, that's one definition of the term powerless. Another definition of the term powerless is that you couldn't do it if you wanted to. So depending on what definition you use of the word powerless, I think powerless means you couldn't do it if you wanted to. Your son, your baby, 5-year-old boy couldn't beat you up no matter how hard he tried.
Yeah. You
know, but your son, if you've got a big son, he might not choose to eat his dad because he loves and respects you too much. There's two different types of being powerless.
Right, okay. We're going to two different types. But as I said...
what I'm saying in terms of how you want to define the word. I assume you think the powerless in terms of they couldn't do it no matter how hard they tried.
I think there's elements of that too, though. You know, I'm not going to knock it. I'm just saying that... They could, even if they want. It means that you have the inability to project power. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's like I told you. I was just trying to explain to you. If you've got 10 men standing there, each of them's got. Each of them has got. Listen, and each of them has got a spear. There's 10 men. They're watching their wives being murdered by 10 men with machine guns. They have the power to do something, but if they do something, they're gonna die. So they stand there and watch their people being murdered because they are powerless. They don't know. It doesn't mean they don't have the power, but they have less than what is needed to attack these people. If they attack them, they're all gonna die. You know what I'm saying? So that makes that group powerless. You read.
Apply that scenario you just implied about the present situation to an entire nation like Nigeria or South Africa. How is? Just tell me in your explanation, how is South Africa or Nigeria or a national country, a nation of people with a will, powerless like that?
Because, all right, say they attacked Ghana, yeah. They have, in military terms, they have, I don't know,
Nigeria's going to be 200 million people. They mobilize an army, a massive army,
right?
And so this is our country. We're running this country.
$500 million in terms of army and weaponry and right. They've attacked. Somebody's attacked Ghana, and they're bombing Ghana because the Americans claim Ghana's a terrorist. What? Excuse me. What can Nigeria do? They have
Nigeria can do loads about it.
Yeah, that's not what I'm saying, though. You're counteracting what I'm saying. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you asked me to give an explanation of what I said.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry.
So you're standing there with your $500 million worth of armory, watching them attack Ghana. Yeah, you can't do. You have $500 million, and if you do something, you sacrifice your defense of your country. You know what I mean? To attack something that you are going to be outnumbered by. So when it's written, they would say, when you write that down, you go, and Nigeria was powerless to do anything about the attack on Ghana. It doesn't mean that you didn't have any power. It means that in that individual situation, at that moment in time, you could not draw upon your power to do anything. If you did, you probably would have lost the bigger. That's how, as you talk about military strategy, they're not going to sacrifice the defense of their entire country to defend a battle, a war that they know they're going to lose just to show face. They might send out, I don't know, they got $500 million, they might send 100,000 troops out to help you to defend. But after the 100,000 troops, they can't expect anymore, right? But that's going into a whole nother strategic argument. The point I'm making, as it's written, it will be, and Nigeria was powerless to do something. It means
I don't believe that.
How's it going to be written? How's it going to do anything? If you want to do something, and
okay, Doctor, it's okay.
If you want to do something and you can't, it will be written as you are powerless to do something about it. That's how it's written.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that I don't buy the argument that a country like 200 million with Ghana, who traditionally and Nigeria are part of one country anyway, if they wanted to make it one nation, make Ghana and Nigeria into one nation, and outside forces didn't like it, I think the Nigerian nation have a huge amount of power to stop it. I don't think it's no quick fix war.
That's a supposition.
In the history,
there's no example of that. There's a supposition. You know, the only example we have to present day is a situation with Gaddafi. So that's the only real example.
No. There's loads and loads of examples. There's loads. Okay, I'll give you a better example. Let me just give you a better example. I'll get off the line. I don't want to hold up the line. Iraq. The Iraqi army capitulated. They still can't defeat Iraq. So this notion that the Iraqi army gave up there wasn't any war to fight. But taking a country, let me just finish, taking a country is a much bigger issue than just saying, oh well, this is written. You know, who's won in Iraq? We're still working it out.
Listen, that's not our story. That's not nothing to do with us. I hear you, but I'm saying...
No, but I'm saying in terms of the power dynamics of you wanting to do something, somebody else saying no, then you're going backing it out.
But we're not doing that because it doesn't exist. You're talking about a scenario that doesn't exist. You're making it up to say it can exist.
No, Iraq exists. Everybody knows about Iraq.
But that's that story. We're not talking about that story. You're giving me an example of an...
Okay, all right. Okay, I'm sorry.
Let me finish. You're giving me an example of a reality. When you talk about the African situation, it's not real. It's just what you assume.
I know. But the point was about winning a national battle. That's the point I was making. national strategies, and when nations go take on other nations, it's not a simple.
I didn't say. What, you see, these are intricacies. That
so being powerless and being powerful are not. You know, I still hold to my argument that African nations are extremely powerful.
But that, you see, but there's if you say
okay,
so.
but
if you say so,
I'll get off the line. I'll get off the line and
I've given you numerous examples how that is not a reality. You can have, I'm saying power, everybody's got some sort of power. So clearly, Nigeria has power. You know what I'm saying? Clearly. But if it cannot execute its power in a scenario which it should, then it's powerless in that situation. Then it goes over to a situation where it can't even build. It's a country, a nation of millions, which has a great cocoa country, and it doesn't. Why wouldn't an ordinary consumer-based, business-based country have a chocolate factory? They don't even have one. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't understand all this. They could, but
isn't that an argument about business development rather than power?
I'm just using it to show you another example of what powerless is. I wouldn't be able to understand why I wouldn't be able to do that. Yeah, other countries. Britain got untold amount of chocolate factory. It doesn't grow chocolate. Britain doesn't grow chocolate, but it's got untold amount of chocolate. So what's stopping the other things that thought the European mindset and colonialism has effed up the whole of the colonies across there? They got us under their thumb. That's what I'm saying. So we're powerless.
I agree with that.
But that's why you're powerless, isn't it? Because if you got you under the thumb, it means
but that's a different. It may be that people like what they've got. It might not be. It may be that a lot of people like being colonized,
you see, you're back
and therefore they consider themselves.
Back onto suppositions. I'm saying that.
They may. All right.
It's silly. It's silly for you to suppose all this stuff. Either this is how it is. If you said that the president came out and said we love the way that the colonists have us, and we love this to that. If the president came and said that, you could say you're clear that that's what they're under, right? So now we're just guessing. What I am saying is that I don't know any people that want their nationality to be suppressed because their first language of Nigeria is English. I wouldn't know of any free people that want their oil and their various other resources to be controlled by another country. So you're telling me that they just want that to happen. I'm saying that whatever power they have, they do not have the power to uncheck the colonialist powers that control them. That's the point I made. Because I'm not talking about any other country.
I disagree with that. I think that's
when you write a letter to them and
okay, let's agree to disagree. My brother, let's agree to disagree.
That's always going to be the case. When one doesn't understand the other, it's always going to be the case. But one has there is only one truth. Yeah, all the rest is just versions. So somewhere along the line, either you got it right or I've got it right. You know what I'm saying? Or there's a mixture of the two. But
I don't think things are not always that simple.
Well, they are. It's just that people, because of the intervention of certain various type of powers, they have to make them seem complex. Either you control your own destiny like America does, or you don't. You know what I'm saying? Either you control your...
I don't think anybody controls their destiny. I mean, I think that's... Nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. I meet you right pretty tomorrow, and we're all dead. Nobody can control your own destiny. That's idealistic stuff. But a nation... A nation can do a great deal. That's my argument.
Say it again?
And a country full of millions of people under the jurisdiction of a government can do a great deal. That's a very strong, powerful thing.
That's just me.
And I'll get off the line, okay?
Good night. Bye.
Alright.
I get that. You see what I'm saying? People just make stuff up. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to say that these are suppositions. This means that you want it to be that way. You feel that's like keeping hope alive in slavery. You know what I'm saying? These are things that they're not realized. They're not real. You know what I'm saying? They're not real things. They're just supposed things. That's what supposition is. Something supposed. Well, they do have power, but they're not using it. Well, that's not what... I'm not talking about supposed power. I'm talking about real... Why are they exercising power? That's what I want to know. So if you can tell me that, then we'd be great. I'm willing to lose an argument on that level, but not just supposed level. Hello, this is Genesis. My name is Doctah X. Who am I speaking to? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, can I be heard?
Yeah, of course you can. What's your name, sir?
Yeah, D.
D, what's up?
I've just been listening to your show, man, and it's just got me here cracking up, man. I haven't listened to you in a while, but hey, respect you, man. Respect you.
What you got to add?
I have to come out the other room because I'm on the internet, so I got to come out the other room because we're going to get feedback.
Okay, yeah, cool.
All right, cool. And your last caller, okay, he's got it all wrong. And I think you laid down the premises, and it was clear, and you let the phone open up for 3 minutes. Anybody call in and show me a Black Power nation or Black Power, show me Black Power anywhere. You gave 3 minutes of open time. Your phone didn't ring, correct?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, your point, yeah.
Right, because there is none. There is none. There is none.
What was he talking about, sir? Could you explain? Because he just, to me, this is my version. I'll ask for your version in a second. My version of his version was, he was talking about supposed power and power that they might have and reasons that they're not using it. And I didn't understand none of that. I was talking about available power that is being used right now. That's what I wanted to see. Not all the supposition about power and what they might be and what they might not be doing in their little dream world or when they're asleep. I wanted to know, show me the power that's being used right now, and then I'll be nice. You know what I mean? What's that about?
He couldn't. He couldn't.
No, tell me your version now. Now, you tell me your version of how you used it, because that was mine. What was your version?
On what your last caller was talking about?
Yeah, because I might have totally got it.
No, he was, as far as I'm concerned, the last caller, he was missing the point. He was off point.
Okay.
There is no, hence why he talked about Ghana and Nigeria. Now, these are two big countries in of themselves in Africa, right?
Yeah.
And he's talking about them uniting to become all powerful. But you laid it down to him straight. That's not going to be, that's a fantasy, because outside interest will not allow that to happen. I.e., European interest, American interest, they will not allow their cake to be stolen, let alone the crumbs.
Right, absolutely.
Okay? So this is what that is right there, is military power.
Absolutely.
Which no black nation has. Military power. And for the last caller, if you think that the European man is going to allow his grip on the world to loosen and not, I repeat, and not use his military power and might, you are lost. Now, in the meantime, I'm not saying that before, it's a dire situation. In the meantime, for me, I would come on and say, listen, Dr. X, I can't put down no powerful African nation and say, yeah. What I can say, what I would like to see, is that the continent of Africa start to kick out the European.
Yeah, okay.
That would be the start. Get rid of the European, all them sticky hands in their pies, get them out. And that, for me, is going to be the beginning of a powerful nation stepping into its right.
I get you. And you see, I can agree with that. You see what I'm saying? If we have the ability to do that, then you start to see, that's a reality, isn't it? If you're seeing it happen, it becomes a reality. What he was talking about was not what. There's nothing that he said that was reality. This was all supposition, definition. He said if you have another definition, you know what I mean? I just wanted to see reality.
He did say, he used the example of Taiwan, China, and Japan, and all the rest of it. What I would have liked to have heard, or not that you, I would have liked to ask him, what has Taiwan got? Oil? Gold? Diamonds? What has it got? He may not have been able to answer it, but I can tell you straight what Taiwan is all about with America. It's strategic positioning.
Okay.
It's strategic military positioning. They need to be in range. Their bombs and nukes need to be in range. That's what Taiwan is about.
They just need to occupy it to have military advantage.
It's a base. That's what America do. They pick their spots nicely. They look to base this. Listen, as far as I'm concerned, China, all of these big superpowers that they talk about, they're big superpowers. But America, we know the beast what America is. American is European. We know the Europeans are. They will die before they give over anything to any other non-white people. Die. Press that nuke button 1,000 times.
I'd agree with that.
Trust me.
I'd agree.
Trust me. So it's funny because me and my wife have a lot of arguments in this house, right, about the world and how it stands right now. And the other day we kind of agreed that the world needs to be just emptied and reset. This is too far gone. We need a reset. It needs a cleanse.
It's difficult.
Because I'm a grown man and I can't see this black power nation rising. I can't see it.
No, but this
Call me pessimistic.
well, that's
So
what
be it. Somebody come and show me the optimism, because my optimism began, as I said, when Africa as a continent starts to kick out that white man like Mugabe tried to do, and look what happened to him.
And also what they did to Gaddafi would have been the most powerful person in Africa to unite the African state under the African United States is what he was trying to do. He also had the resources in terms of gold. What do you think they've just gone? They've just gone and raided all their gold reserves. These people are vile. They do not, and they've emptied Libya. They've bombed their schools, their houses, their hospitals. They didn't go in there to get rid of him. They go in there to destabilize the country, so he couldn't do what anybody couldn't come and do what he was trying to follow on from what the Gaddafi did and destabilize millions of people. They do not play. When we was trying to do that thing, as I said on the last show, when they was trying to build that town, they went in there and they rioted the town, burned and bombed. The first riots were by white people. They burned and bombed it. They bombed people and they ripped them off of their stuff. The Black Wall Street. They do not care if they see you push too far forward, they will stop you. So I'm saying, then for me to look and see somebody, I need to see somebody powerful. Farrakhan is not powerful. There's no one, powerful. They're just people that have got followers. Like, you can have 1,000 followers on internet. Doesn't mean you're powerful. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about power, the ability to say right, like what Russia did for Cuba. Russia was so powerful that they said, if you do anything to Cuba after they threw you out, you're gonna have a problem with us. And then they have to weigh up. America has to weigh up whether or not the cost of defending Cuba is worth their what the kind of military loss they're gonna have to make. They're going to lose millions of pounds worth of military equipment and stuff and lives on a little tiny island, and they decided not to do it. So that's how Cuba managed to say it. It's not all about strategy. It's about, is that thing worth it? So when you're saying people not doing nothing, it's not that they can do it but they don't. It's that they don't have the power to do it, because if they do it, this happens. You can't say, they got the power but they're not doing it. If you got the power, you'll do it. If you don't have the power, you won't. It's simple.
All right, listen. Just referring back to the last caller when he spoke about Iraq. Now, Iraq is like a broken country, but he was talking about the people. They haven't broken the people's spirit or their nationality or something to that regard. I might be wrong with what he was saying, but I think that's what he was saying. Like, the people are still kind of united as one or united on their philosophy. But the problem I see there is, the West don't care. Europe, America don't care. Why? They have the poppy fields. They have the oil fields. They have all the country's value. So they don't care what the national people think or feel. They're getting what they want. This is a winning thing going on here. And as it goes, the bully with the biggest stick win the game. So unfortunately for us, the biggest stick is Europe and America. They have the biggest stick. And the thing about it is, they won't allow South Korea to build no nukes. They won't allow Nigeria to build nukes. They won't allow none of these countries to build nukes. Because that's getting on an even ground.
Because that means that they're able to defend themselves. That means they won't have if say Nigeria had 5 nukes, and it decides it wants to build a whole bunch of schools that are free, so to speak. America won't be able to do anything, because they said, well, if you do that, we're going to bomb you. I said, well, we'll bomb you right back. So, keep the hell out. Like what Putin is doing. That's what happens. So, I'm asking for military. What did I ask for? I said political, industrial, social, or military power. Show me it. I didn't say, tell me you got it but can't use it. Show me it.
And I didn't hear your show from the start. I just said it from maybe the last, I've been listening for about the last 45 minutes, but even in that little bit, I understood exactly what you were saying. And for the guy to come on and not understand and try to present an argument of a powerful nation, military, politically, listen, brother, we ain't got that.
We don't.
So what do I say in the meantime? Well, just do the best you can do for you, friends and family and like-minded people. Just do the best what you can do. Absolutely. Because I'll tell you what, we are the people, we are up the paddle without a creek. I'm trying to hold my language for Sunday show. We're up the paddle, however they bloody say it, right? It's a hard thing. And I just want to touch one thing with you right now, right? Listen, I am inundated with supporting black business and black movements and black this. me maybe hailing out myself. But I looked at it and said to myself, hang on a minute. I support this black business, whether it's a food shop, barber shop, whatever, but that's what we do, right? I'm supporting them with my hard-working money, paying over the odds, and they take my hard-earned money, and where do they spend it? With the Asian, with the white man. They take my money, convince me to spend my money back, but then they take my black money and spend the Asian, Indian. You see what I'm saying? Why? Because they're the people that have it. They are the ones that have it and control it.
Right, that's what the point.
Okay, let me just finish it. So when they made all my black pounds off of me, are they now buying their house in the ghetto area where the money come from, or are they taking that money and going out to a nice more suburban or a nice more,
where more white people
area, more prettier area? I'm gonna say prettier, just for the sake of. But you can say more white.
Wherever they're gonna go, it's gonna be where white people live, because there's no black people living.
Right. I would love for someone to come on the show who owns the business and say that, right, I spend 90% of my clientele is black, and I spend the returns, I buy everything from black, and I buy my house and go and live amongst black. I'd love somebody to come on your show and say that, because you would bury my argument, and I would have to just eat humble pie. Listen, I'm going to get off your line.
Yes, sir. Thank you, D.
Thanks for giving me the time. Have a good day.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, that was a good one. Obviously, these are arguments and they're different. But like I said, once you lay out your foundation for your argument, then it should be around that foundation. It shouldn't veer off into other definitions and stuff like that, because we can do that all day. And I've been doing this for a number of years, so I know that people do that all the time. And they veer off, and then you end up arguing about something that's got nothing to do with what you started off with. And that's cool. But, no, it isn't cool. I mean, it's a way of doing things, but I don't want to do it that way. So I'm saying, and I've done it that way, and it doesn't go nowhere. And the only point is that to make the argument a bit more forceful in terms of stop saying stuff that's make believe. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm saying that I believe some of the answers to our dilemmas is to face reality. That's what I believe. And if we're not facing reality, we cannot change anything, because we're going to keep thinking somebody's not trying because of this reason or make believe reasons. Hello, this is Genesis. My name's Doctah X. Who am I speaking to?
Greetings, Doctah X. It's MX.
MX. How you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm good. I've been listening for about the last hour or so. It's a busy Sunday day. But I think, me personally, I might be a couple of minutes late because I'm listening on the internet. Okay. But me personally, I think you did a disservice. You and the last caller did a disservice to the people that called 2 calls before. Okay. And I think you did a disservice to him, because there's a very interesting documentary that came on it came on a little while ago called Networks of Power, right? And basically it was on Sky Atlantic, and there was this gentleman, was a white guy, going around the world talking about what power is in it. And what he proved is like 5 series. Was like a 5-series show, hour long in each series, each episode. And what he proved is that like power is very, very different. There isn't one set way of being powerful or showing power. So what you've been asking is to give an example of this one way of power. Now, because you can't show this one way of power that you are specifying, political, social, technological, financial, that doesn't mean to say that that power doesn't exist. It just means to say that type of power isn't on show. Do you understand? And I think that's what I'm clear about.
But I'm clear about that, though. I'm clear about that, though. Exactly what you said is I'm very clear about that exact definition you just given.
No, but all right. So like I said, I've been listening for the last hour or so, maybe a bit more. And what I've heard. So what I wanted to hear was more from what that caller was saying, but I don't think he's really giving him a shot. But I think that's what he was saying. So you asked the last caller to kind of refer what he was saying, like refer to the conversation previous, and what did he get from that? Now I'm giving you what I got from what this geezer was saying, and what I know is that there are many different ways to show power and what power is. You've asked for one specific way. Show me an example of social, political, financial, technological power that black people have. Now, we can't do that, but that does not suggest in any way, shape, or form that black people aren't powerful. Do you understand? As far as my opinion.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's fine. I'm saying when you have an argument, yeah, when you have an argument, or where you put forward an argument or something to argue, yeah, or debate or whatever you want to call it, you can't just put across every single nook and cranny of a debate. So, in order to make sure that you're arguing around the area, which is what you're trying to clear up, you create a boundary so that people know that you were talking within that boundary. Outside of that boundary is another argument. Now, we weren't talking about the argument today wasn't what is power and what power is. The argument was power. One of the points of the argument, power meant knowledge isn't power and money isn't power. And I went through the black thing. This is a black versus white argument. This is no other type of argument. Yeah. So I'm suggesting that we do not have the power to usurp white people, and we are getting more and more into their arms. So the only way that nations become powerful is through these means. Doesn't mean we wasn't talking about, and I explained about the power of the individual and I explained. Obviously, you didn't hear. I explained about the power of everything else and how you can have these other types of powers. I explained.
No, I heard a bit.
Right. So therefore, that's not doing it disservice. I'm clearly outlining.
No. I tell you why. This is, again, we're just you and I. I tell you why it is doing a disservice. It's because we use this word power in it, and power has so many different meanings.
Yeah, but you keep doing that. I'm saying I've given the meaning. You can't use these other meanings if I've given you a specific meaning, isn't it? That doesn't make sense.
My man, I'm not doing it. It is what is done.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
How it is.
When you have a
hold on. So, for example, there was you and the other gentleman had this thing going back and forth. And what you said is that, well, if the man doesn't want to punch the woman, if the man doesn't want to, if his woman's getting mashed up or something like that, and the man doesn't want to fight for his woman or whatever, you had this little I forgot the word, hypothesis or going on between you two. And and what you kept saying was because he's powerless. No, what he is he's coward. That's the word for what that geezer is.
You see, okay,
he's a coward. No.
That's not. It's just you're now talking about definitions, bro. You're now talking about definitions. We're not talking about definitions. We got to talk about.
Listen.
Sir, let me just interject. Because we're arguing here. So I'm saying we're not talking about definitions. You've now called it coward, right? I'm saying to you in terms of a definition, right? We're talking about powerless. He's powerless to do anything about, and I didn't mention that as an actual thing. I was talking about when somebody watched, a group of men watched, them killing their mothers, but they had arm and they had spears and blah, blah, blah. I'm saying,
sorry, that's what you said, yeah.
How it would be written is that even though these guys had the spear, they were powerless to do anything. That's how it would be written. It's a term of how it wouldn't be written, these men were too coward to do anything. You know what I'm saying? They were outnumbered and outgunned. So that's how it would be termed as powerless. It doesn't mean they didn't have any power, but at that moment they couldn't exercise it. That's what powerless means. It doesn't always mean that you have no power at all.
No. They had. So this is where we differentiate, because what I feel the gentleman two calls were saying, well, the geezers did have power, but what they were just cowards, because you can't stop somebody from doing something. Everybody's got power. But the reason, here's the thing I wanted to say. You made an example of why are there no chocolate factories in Ghana or in Africa?
Yeah, that was a different point.
Now, my thing is simply that, and I had this conversation with somebody the other day. Why would chocolate? What happens to chocolate in the heat?
It melts.
It melts. So what's the point in having a chocolate factory? Chocolate would never sell like how it sells in cold countries. Think about this business-wise, marketing-wise.
Yeah, but
chocolate would never sell in Africa.
Yeah, but the French
never sell. Hold on. It would never sell in Africa like how it sells in Western Europe.
But that's not the point.
Why?
That's not the point.
No, of course it's the point. Of course it's the point.
Why is it the point,
Why would chocolate? Why
is it point?
It's the point.
Sir, they're paying people. They're paying kids who are 6 and 7 year old. You know what I mean? Pennies. To sell stuff that sell in the West for pounds. You understand what I'm saying? Tens of pounds. Yeah. So why? So as a state, remember I talked about political, social, and financial. So it stands to reason that if you've got people who are billionaires and millionaires over there, you know what I'm saying, you're starting a business where you have the gross national, where you have most of the product to produce. It stands to reason that you start a factory to export the chocolate. But if they've locked out your export agreements, if they've got all your export under lock, if they've got all your chocolate plantations under lock, then what's the point of you building a factory? Because none of the chocolate will go through there. They'll rather put it on the plane and send it to Belgium, or they'll send it and send it to Côte d'Ivoire, where a French company owns a chocolate factory in. Right.
But the problem with that analogy is that is it within the interest of the African businessman to create a chocolate factory? Hold on. It's much like it's like, for example, you know, I've got a brethren from Zimbabwe or something like that, and what he said is like what his grandma used to say. Back in the day, you know, they lived on this. Where they lived, the diamonds were everywhere. Do you know what I mean? They were everywhere. You know, but the African that lived on the plant on the ground, it had no value. What did it matter to them that there was a shiny rock coming out of the ground? There's thousands of them, hundreds. It didn't matter to them.
What's the point?
So the point is, however, along comes a white man, and the white man says, "Ooh, look at that diamond! I like that diamond." So he puts a value on it because he knows he can take that rock there and sell it in the West.
Right.
Yeah. So he put the value on it. So my thing is, are the Africans? This is the question, isn't it? Are the Africans putting the value where they should be putting the value? And this is the conversation.
But that's a different argument, bro.
It's not a different argument. Because
you just asked a question. You just said, are the Africans putting... That's a whole different... That's a question.
No. It is a question, but it's not a whole different argument.
Why is it? It's a question. It's a question that's not... It's outside of... We're not arguing that. We're arguing power. You're not arguing... You're arguing a philosophical mind state. You're actually...
No.
You're actually an ethical mind state. It's ethics now you're talking about. Is it? Why don't we put value on it? That's ethics. That's nothing to do with what I was talking about, which is power. You're talking about ethics now. The point I'm making.
No. Because you put... No.
That's what you're talking about.
Excuse me.
That's where it belongs.
Excuse me.
It doesn't belong anywhere.
Excuse me, sir. What you did was you put the value on power.
Because it's my argument. I'm putting an argument forward. It's not your argument, is it? It's my argument.
Okay. So it's your argument. Fair enough. But here we are on a.
I've given you the remit for my argument, though. You can't create another one because you feel like it.
No. What I am saying to you is simply this, and this is how it circles. What I'm saying to you is it's about the value and where the value is placed. You're saying that power exists in this way, ... And I'm saying to you, power is many different things, and in many ways to show power.
You're doing the same thing the other guy was doing. I said to you, I've given you the remit for the power structure that I'm using. You cannot then come and then say there's another version. We're not talking about the other version, bruv. We're talking about the version that I've given you to say, is there anybody that can supply me with this version? That's what we're asking. No, is there anybody that can suggest the other versions of powers that there are that one can use and one is not using? And what I didn't ask that question.
All right. Okay. So what you want to do is then you want to have a conversation. You want to come on Genesis Radio and have a conversation where everyone's saying no. Call up and say no, sir. Is that what you want? Is that your radio show?
What do you mean, no, sir? About what? Sorry, what's that? What's that mean? Where's that?
No. There are no examples, sir. So you created this small box, and you said, I want an example of this.
Right, then, well, exactly, yeah, I'm going to be able to say there are no examples, exactly. If there's no examples, there's no examples, like there's no blue sun. Show me the example of a sun that's green. There is no examples, that's what I mean. So, there is no example of that, that's what I'm saying.
Why?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, show you an example of a green sun.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
There is no example of a green sun. That's what I'm saying to you. There is no example of a green sun, so you can't show me it.
So what does that mean?
I'm just making a point that you cannot show me something that doesn't exist.
No, but I can show. But this, okay. So if you're making a point that I can't make a point of something that doesn't exist, what I'm saying to you is nothing I have said previously. There's nothing there that doesn't exist.
Yeah, but bro,
what I'm saying is.
Bro, you're getting what I'm saying. You're not dealing with my argument. You're creating your own argument within my argument.
I'm not creating my own argument. My man, listen to me. No, I'm not.
What are you doing?
What I'm doing is...
The state of my argument is clear. I am suggesting, I am saying that this is the remit for the argument, yeah? Because every boxing match, every rugby match, every karate has to have rules and a confine which it works in. You take it outside of that, you're committing fouls. So I'm saying this is the way I'm staying. So in order for the argument to be clear and precise about that particular argument, when you start to add all these other philosophical and ethical and other versions of the argument, you're taking it away from the original argument. And then you're not going to get clarity. If I've asked for that, to show me the power, and there is no availability of that, and you can't, then that's the end of the argument, isn't it? You can't then say, well, there's different types of power. So, you can have this type of power and that type of power. I didn't ask that question, which type of power you can have.
Alright, so I understand what you're saying. So basically, what you can't get out of me is the idea or the suggestion that I am not a powerful person or that we don't have power.
I didn't say that again.
No. Because you've given the remit and you said, well, this is power. This is it. Value, and if we don't have that, then what?
No, I didn't say this is power, bruv. You're taking it and putting it into a category that I didn't put it into. If you listen from the beginning, everything was. If you don't hear from the beginning, then you're going to miss bits. Everything was laid out in the beginning of the show. I explained about the other versions of power, and I explained that I am not talking about these other versions. Be clear. I made that clear. So if you get a recording of this, you will hear that. So you coming now later down and saying, "Oh, I'm trying to fixate on the power." I've explained to you, you can't have I've been doing this for over 20 years, and I know what black people do. They take and they got their little other versions of another version, and they slip it in the argument. So I've gotten used to that. So I'm saying now, when I give you my remit, stick to it or don't bother chat. That's what I'm saying. Because it doesn't make sense you bring another remit into it. That's nothing. When you do a Labour Party, when you do a Labour Party or any of these arguments or these debates on TV, you have to stick to the subject matter. You can't then bring in stuff, philosophical and ethical stuff that has nothing to do with the subject matter that was presented, or even on other white radios. So why is it black radio? You can start talking about, next thing you're talking about the sun, the moon, the stars.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
I didn't talk about the sun and the moon.
No, I didn't say you are. I'm saying the reason why you suggested that is because that's what happens.
Boss man, listen to me very carefully. I'm MH, yeah? I was doing what you were doing on that same platform maybe like a year ago, yeah? You can ask D-Roll about me, he knows me, yeah? And what I'm saying to you is, I fully 100% understand your problem, because when I was making arguments, people wanted to bring all types of stuff just to justify their arguments. And so you're very wary of that, 100%. But what I'm saying is that's not what I've done now, and also, in order for us to kind of solve this issue that we have within the community, we have to have conversations, and conversations mean that we have to bring in other sources of information so that we can get the best outcome, because that's what we want in it. Because otherwise, what I hear a lot of from the community is that the white man's won. Well, if the white man's won, what the fuck are we playing? Why are we not all just jumping out of the windows? Do you know what I mean? Why are we just not all just saying, you know what, F it, what are we even doing here if the white man's won? No, he hasn't won. There is a way to fix this problem. We just have to have the right conversation. Right, so I'm not saying that this is the platform to have that conversation.
Right, but that's a different argument. What I'm saying,
that's a different, 100%, that's a different argument.
So what I am saying,
let me come off, and then you can get somebody else in. Yeah, but the reason why I wanted to phone up is because, in my opinion, I don't think it makes sense that for an African to have a chocolate factory. Do you know what I mean? Because
that's another argument. That's another argument.
It would just not. No, but that's something that you said.
But I'm saying, I know that French companies have got chocolate factories in there, and other companies from other countries. So I don't know. That's now talking about business and finance part of the power structure.
Yeah.
So
but all of that stuff.
If you got control over the distribution, and you pay children 6 years old that should be at nursery or primary school and 5 years old to pick it for less than pennies, I would suggest that there's something fundamentally wrong with your economic and your country, that you've got child labourers working when they should be at school, and yet still you don't have a chocolate factory, you don't have wage, you don't have a wage policy. You still have children. Yeah. In Europe, you could never send a 6-year-old to go and pick no chocolate in Europe. They'll send you to jail. So it shows you that. So that means that another country, again going back to what I said about power, has power into another country where the rules that it has for itself, it doesn't care about your rules, Because remember, you said they have no use of chocolate. That means all that chocolate is being exported to European countries. And Europeans are saying, we don't care about your children. You better make them work for six cents an hour and pick as much chocolate as they can to send so we can remake in Belgium and Switzerland and sell back to the Europeans over here. So to me, that doesn't seem like a country that has power over its economics. To me. So that's what I want to see. I want you to tell me that, no, that doesn't exist. And they got wage and they got union. I want you to tell me that which you can't tell me or anyone. So I'm just making a point to show you how futile it is for individuals to be thinking that they can open a bookshop and change the world. I'm not saying it cannot be, you won't have an effect. But that's not what is changing the world, because these people are already embedded their type of corruption and brutality across the world. So unless you're going to find other ways to show that you have power, in like what Gaddafi tried to do, you're going to have a hard time beating them. Just the way it is. There's no other argument. It's just that you're going to have, and I'm trying to show that a lot of this, let's join money together and let's spend money, all this stuff. I'm not saying it's futile. I'm saying don't have that. Don't hold that as a noose around people's neck, because people got to live. This shit is hard to live. You know what I'm saying? So people that, you got to do this and join, otherwise something's wrong with you. What a caller just said, the black business are spending their money with Asians. So we haven't been able to penetrate that market. No, I'm just saying we haven't been able to penetrate the Asian market, so we can become distributors. Because they won't allow us. It's not because we're not good enough. It's not because we don't have the money. It's because they have a network of people that they keep you out. They set it up so that every time you try and say, well, I want to distribute some black products, they make it difficult for you to get the distributor next to it. They put up the taxes on you at certain other wholesale companies because you're not Indian or you're not Hindu. Are you mad? This is not easy to do. What I'm saying, unless there is a rail against these things, unless there's a rail against the record companies, unless there's a rail against the distributing companies, all this I'm going to buy with black people, it's silliness. It's not going to go nowhere. All you're going to end up doing is just spending money amongst each other, and who's going to end up in the same economy. If you want to change that, you've got to change other things. That's what I'm saying, but I haven't got to that bit.
Yeah. I mean, 100% agree. Let me just make this quick point, and then I'll get off the line. I think you are quite right, but we got to, as black people, we've got to be more responsible. We can't just keep blaming other people outside of this. And I'll give you about 8 years ago, I was involved with some Indian geezers, right? And what they were doing was they were buying mobile phones here in the UK and sending them over to India because because of certain circuitry, EC laws and all this kind of stuff. The phones that we get here are better than what they get in India. They could actually sell it for a premium in India. The geezer that was running the thing, it was his brother. It was his cousin that had the shop. And literally, what they used to do is just give you money. You go out there, you buy certain phones. They'll buy the phone back off of you, and you might make a fiver on top of the phone was £100. You might get £105 back. But if you could go out there and get 10 phones and you make £50 in a day, I was signing on. And I didn't want to sell crack. So do you know what I mean? I was hustling kind of thing. What I'm saying is what I saw these geezers do was send these phones over to India. The geezers buying himself. All the brothers bought Porsches and they bought Range Rovers, and they made some serious money. Do you know what I mean? Now, when I tried to do the same thing with a couple of my brothers or my peoples, quote unquote, he didn't really go the same way because certain packages were lost and this didn't happen and you know how it goes. Yeah, so we are 100%. But this is what I'm saying in it. I don't think these that last caller that was calling in. I'm bombarded as well with all of these buy black, and you're quite right. What are you doing with my money? You're just going to make me pay over the odds so you can go live in white end. These are not the solutions that we need, but we do have to figure this problem out. But absolutely, because we can't lose. But let me come off the line. Yeah. All right, respect. But pick up yourself still. Yeah. Yeah, respect. Respect. Nice one.
07931 276 232. If you have something to say or to add to the conversation or the debate or the argument or whatever, you know, 07931 276 232. As I said, you know what I'm saying? You know, knowledge isn't power. You know what I'm saying? Knowledge can end power, so it can't be power. If knowledge empowers, then it can't be power. Green is green. You know what I'm saying? You're using the word is, that means, it makes it into something. You know what I'm saying? Is. You know what I'm saying? You can't, if something is something, it's what it is. It can't be knowledge, power. Power is power. You know what I'm saying? It isn't anything else but what it is. So if you don't have it, and when we're talking about this type of power, not electric power, not emotional power. We're talking about the power that changes nations. The power that made Europe great, made Britain great, was the ability to enslave and treat human beings like animals. Treat them like dogs and treat them in a disgusting and despicable and homicidal way. Hello, this is Dr. X. Who am I speaking to? This is Genesis.
Yeah, you're speaking to Paul, but nice to speak to you, Dr. Death.
Okay, bro. Dr. Death, did you call me?
Brother, sometimes when I listen to you, you make me go death, brother, and I'm sure the X is for death. But hear what?
No, X means unknown. It doesn't mean deaf, sir.
Oh, bro, but you make me deaf, bro. Listen, big up to MX, right? I've been listening to that brother for a little while, and when I used to listen to him in the beginning, he used to sound like you, effing and blinding with all the foul language, brother, and I just had to turn off. But hear what? That brother's grown, man, and to hear him speak today, if he's listening, I hope he keeps up. That was a very intelligent argument you put there, brother, and it's good to hear. I was following the argument you had with the brother who was talking about power. I think listening to you, fundamentally, as hard as it seems, because sometimes the truth is a bitter pill to swallow. There is a lot of truth in what you say in terms of the military dynamics. I mean, that's undeniable. I mean, America, no one can match the military. The only maybe is Russia.
China. Them three. They're the three super.
I wouldn't even say China. I wouldn't even say China. I mean, when you look at the fleet the Americans have, like in terms of warships, China doesn't match him. I think China has about 4 warships. America has like 54. Some crazy figure. But anyway, I mean, what I'm saying is, the fundamental point to the argument is right. But to say that these countries are powerless, I kind of agree with the brother when he says in terms of the populace. Because if the argument was totally right, the war in Vietnam would have been a walkover, but it wasn't a walkover. It's because, again, America militarily, you can't be touched. But they didn't succeed in Vietnam.
You see that people are reconfiguring what I'm saying. If I asked you if there was a war in Nigeria that was usurping English colonialism or British or European colonialism, then what I said would be null and void. You know what I'm saying? You can't use a situation that exists against a situation that has never existed and say it's the same. You're talking about if they went in, I just explained about the situation with the chocolate and they've got children that they are paying, children that are paying that should be in nursery and school wages, little tiny to pick coca. Now, if there was a war being fought in America, in Nigeria, or wherever they're doing it, all over Africa, to stop that, then I couldn't say, show me some power, because there would be power being shown. I'm asking you to show me the power around this particular remit. I didn't say, again, I didn't know when you listened to it. Again, I'm going to repeat. I didn't say they didn't have no power at all. I'm saying in these situations, they are powerless.
Yeah, but the situation you give is a hypothesis. There's no
not a hypothesis. How is it a hypothesis? Tell me how it's a hypothesis. It means it doesn't exist.
It's a hypothesis because there's no war between the Americans and the Nigerians. So you're just
I just said that there was no war between the Americans and the...
Yeah, so it's a hypothesis. That's why it's a hypothesis. Sir, you just asked me. That's why I just told you.
Sir, no, that's what I'm saying. That's not.
You're hypothesis.
You just showed me a situation, that existed, So I'm showing you a situation.
But the situation I gave you, right, in terms of America and Vietnam, it's not a hypothesis.
Exactly right. So I'm saying.
But the one between America and Nigeria is a hypothesis.
Listen, of course it is. That's what I'm putting forward. I'm saying that it doesn't exist. That's the point I'm making.
Right,
so therefore, then you can't. Then how can you show me a situation that exists against a situation in another country that doesn't exist? It doesn't make sense. Well, I don't know why you're using that.
No, but the point is that the brother was saying about in terms of the populace, in terms of the taking over a country and power and being powerless. The point is that between America and Nigeria is a hypothesis that it hasn't happened. And I think the brother is right.
Of course it hasn't happened.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying, I think when you use things like because children work in chocolate factories, I don't think that has anything to do with it. He told you about colonialism and why they work in these factories. That's as a result of colonialism. That's nothing to do with... That has nothing to do with...
I'm quite aware of colonialism and its effect.
Yeah, right, that's what I'm saying.
But I'm saying that was nothing to do with power, sir. I'm talking about power in these arenas, and that was just one of the arenas.
But to use that to suggest that because they got children working in chocolate factories, that they're powerless.
No, that's just one of them. But you suggest one to show what they are then. You haven't suggested any. I'm showing you that they're powerful. I'm saying that if you can suggest something to show that they are powerful against the colonialists, you know what I'm saying, then you suggest it. And I'll go, wow, cool. I didn't even realise that.
Well, first of all, it depends on how you define powerless, because your
I
version
just showed
of powerless,
you the definition, brother. I can't keep showing you the definition.
You jump all over the place like a rabbit on heat, man.
You see now, listen.
Let me just put the argument in, bro.
Sir,
you keep interrupting, I'm not going to put the argument.
See, when you have to argue, when you learn to argue, when you can argue, you can't use...
Stop jumping down the phone, let me finish the sentence.
No. You can't use them disparaging remarks and hope to continue a conversation with me.
Yeah, but brother, you can't be jumping in a conversation every minute. You got to let a man finish. What's the matter with you?
Well, if you can't manage the... All of
us are simplistic and want to pat you on the back, brother, and raise you up like we're blowing your own horn, bro. We're not all like that, bro. We're not all going to just say yes to everything you say. Come on, man, let me talk.
If you can't manage a controlled conversation, you're not to talk, brother.
Bro, let me talk. Instead of jumping down the phone every 2 minutes.
No.
We're not all going to follow you and pat you on the back like you're the hero. Come on, man.
No. Well, you can't use...
We're not all simplistic
you see
like
that particular type of talk that you use? I'm just going to let you talk.
Oh, brother, come off it. You're bigger than that, man. You're bigger than that. You're not some girl in the ring, man. Talk.
Yeah, you can't use it here. That's all I'm saying to you. So,
brother, come on, man. You're not a little girl in the ring. Talk like you're a man, bro. What's the matter with you?
You see, all these disparaging things you're saying, it means that you're
not... You just want people to nod their head and agree with Doctah death.
Good night. You're not good at holding the argument. This is what I'm saying to you. I've had this for 20 years. If you cannot control yourself within the argument, and stay within the boundaries of the argument, telling people about they're jumping around like hen and people want to bow to you and all that, and that's what you got to use to continue your argument. You're not ready for that type of argument. You're not ready to argue with that individual, because if the two of us are standing there, that means that's like a fight talk. Like, what are you chatting about? You know, if you want to fight talk, then do that on the road with some brethren that you know. But don't come on the radio, because I'm not encouraging none of that talk. That talk is gone. You know what I'm saying? I've done enough of that talk. I'm not doing no more of that talk. You want people to slap you on the back. I don't care what people want to do. All I want to do is, for whatever argument you have, you stay in control. I cut in with every single caller, and people stopped and they started back. That's how you I didn't call them no names. They didn't call me no names. You know what I'm saying? That means they're in control of themselves. You see, if niggas can't get in control of themselves, you know what I'm saying? They're not to come on stations or talk to me. Can talk to anybody they want. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't just control, even if I'm jumping in, if you're jumping in, I don't lose control. People, you know what I'm saying? It's like, that means there's a certain lot of dislike towards my presentation. And I get that. Nobody's going to like everybody. Everybody ain't going to like everybody. That's how it goes. But at least you phoned me. I haven't phoned you. So have some respect when you call people, and don't call them names and use disparaging remarks to continue your conversation. If you're not ready for this level of argument, then go back to the barber shop. Stay on the street corner and want to lick a man in his face or shout down the next man. But here, it's either you control yourself or I cut you off. It doesn't matter whether I'm cutting in or not. I'm not trying to bully. I'm just trying to say to you, I have the right to cut in, because that's what argument is. If all you want to do is just make your point, regardless of what I've got to say, that's not going to happen. Genesis, Doctah, who am I speaking to?
Oh, come on, bro. That's not been a theory, man. Come and take my call. What's the matter with you?
Bruv, calm down, bruv. If you're chatting to me, calm down, innit? And then I'll take your call.
Don't act like a theory, bruv, and cut me off, man. What's the matter with you?
See what I'm saying to you? That's what I'm saying to you. From you don't know how to express yourself and talk about, man, what these people try to do in this old sort of prehistoric way. If they chop at your ego, like, so, you're a fairy or you're a faggot or you're this or you're weak or you're coward or you're this, then somehow you're going to, I'm not into that anymore, bruv. I can fight. I've fought many man. You know what I'm saying? I've drawn many things against many man. I'm not afraid of no man. You know what I'm saying? But what I am not going to entertain is man saying that don't be like a fairy, answer my call. So so in order to prove I'm not fearful of you, I'm going to go, all right, then I'm not a fairy. So go and say, I'm not into that type of argument, brother. You know what I'm saying? You keep that with whoever you want to call a fairy to, but nobody's calling me a fairy and continuing talking to me. Understand? Because that's not I'll walk you out or something's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Why am I engaging in that kind of conversation? That's a disrespectful conversation. People are listening too much hip-hop with disrespect in it. People are talking to too much people. Because when I'm talking disrespectfully, I don't care what happens. That means that I'm willing to fight. That means I'm willing to lick you in your face. If I'm about to say pussy hole and rare, it means I don't care no more. That's what it means. It means that I'm ready to lick you in your face. So I'm not going to talk to nobody like that, because an argument shouldn't get like that. Black people are too volatile and emotional over the simplest of things. All you do is say, if you can't breathe, bruv, you know what I'm saying, and find a way to control yourself and your argument so that you can put it across without thinking everything is ghetto and that everybody needs to fight everybody. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you talk to me. Really? What's that about? 07931 276 232. Don't have to say none of that. Make your point. If I cut you or you cut in, I'll just carry on. You carry on, or we find a way. If you get frustrated at that, so till the point you start to call people names, you need to put the phone down. It means you're not ready for argument. You know what I'm saying? Because the black people that I want to talk to, I want to know that they're about something. They're not trying to pass on this hatred that they have deep within their soul that they want to share with everybody else. I can't even remember if this is the same guy. Hello, Genesis.
Brother, what I can't understand about you, brothers like you, you're the one on the radio swearing, effing and blinding, and you're going to talk to how black people are, like you want.
I don't swear at you in a conversation, bro. I swear when I'm talking. There's a difference between, I don't swear at you, though. I don't swear at individuals.
Yeah, but hold on a second,
right, so
brother.
I make my own peace of that. Right, so
brother,
talk what you're going to say.
Brother, what I'm saying,
say what you're going to say, or I'll cut you off. Simple as that.
You're the dictator, Bob. But listen.
I'm running the show. Isn't that is it difficult for
you
to understand?
Okay. All right. Let's not get in an argument. All I'm saying, I find it very strange, Bob, that you want to judge and
Sir, don't get into none of that. I've made that point. If you're going to make a point about power, make it. If you're going to get into me, then I'm going to cut you off, because that's pointless. I've been doing this for 20 years.
So what, are you the dictator, Bob?
Of course I am. At this moment in time, I control the show. There's a lot of black people don't like control and they don't like discipline. You know what I'm saying? So anytime somebody's in control of something, they want to go, who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? You think you're the big man? No.
That's not discipline. You got it mixed up. That's not discipline.
I didn't say that was discipline.
That's dictatorship, Bob. That's not discipline. You're telling me dictator.
That's control, yeah? I'm running the show. I've given you the limits which I speak around, and that's control.
All right, Bob, you call it what you want. But all right, let's get back to the point. What we were talking about is this power and powerless, bro. The point being is, the way you put together powerlessness is let me choose my words very carefully, not to offend, because you're very sensitive. The way you describe powerless, bruv, is very subjective. It's like, if you don't have a military and you don't have the power to annihilate people, you're powerless. That's the way you're putting it down.
You have a misunderstanding. You have a misunderstanding.
All right, maybe I misunderstood, but what I could hear from the conversation, the brother was trying to say, is that is not the only form of power, right? But I do follow where you go. I do follow where you're coming from with that.
So I explained. You know what I'm saying? Let me do it again. We have this problem with black people get into their heads something and they won't let it go. I've given you everything that you need to have to understand. I haven't made it like you're talking I'm a dictator. I've explained to you what it is. I'm dealing with it. I've explained all the different types of powers that they are, and I'm not talking about those ones. So it's not subjective, because the power that I'm talking about is written, just like some of the other powers that callers are written in the dictionary. I've chosen one out of the dictionary definition, and I'm using that one to describe a particular situation between black people and white Europeans across the world. That's the one I'm using. Any other one is null and void in this argument.
All right, let me give you. Something just come to me, right? You imagine, right? We're all in a house together, okay? And I don't get on with you. You live next door, right? And I want to destroy the whole thing. Now, if I set fire to the house, there's a possibility I'm going to be affected. My family's going to be affected. Now, the biggest power these people have is the nuclear bomb. And it's something like 100 times more power than Hiroshima. Now, if you let that go anywhere in the atmosphere, it's more than likely that where you live, anywhere on the planet, is going to be effective. So no one's going to use no nuclear bomb. No one's going to use that, because you're going to destroy yourself. It's just not going to happen. So the only power, Bob, if you let go any of these weapons on this planet, you anywhere in the world is going to be affected. If America lets it go in anywhere on this planet, it's going to. You know, the seas are going to be destroyed. The land's going to be poisoned. The air's going to be poisoned.
They don't care about that, but that's.
Well, you know, I mean, it's psychopathic to do that.
But they do that. They are psychopathic, though, bruv. They are psychopathic.
Right,
they will do that. They've done it already. They've done it already. They've done it to Hiroshima. They've done it to Nagasaki. They dropped the first bomb on some island. They don't business.
Yeah, but that was a hydrogen bomb. Okay, what they have now is about 150 times more powerful than that.
Well, no, that's not the point I was making. Whether it's hydrogen or not, I'm talking about dropping, regardless of what's happening to the land of the people. That's what I'm talking about. Not the fact that you don't make a bomb with no intention of using it. They're not built that way. If they were built that way, that's why I gave you those examples. They're not built as a people that show restraint. If they have to, they will, and that's the end of that.
Right. So what I'm saying is, the point I'm trying to make is the power comes from the military. Yeah,
that's just one of the powers. That's one of the powers of power.
No, but the power you were talking about, you were referring to, was the military power.
No, it wasn't. You see, that's what I'm saying. You weren't listening to my argument. I gave numerous amounts.
Seems like nobody's listening to your argument.
Well, no, you're not listening to the argument, bruv. You know what I'm saying? It's documented, isn't it? I must have said these things. There's other arguments I gave about the powers. Military was just one of them. It was political, industrial. So I'm saying these are the powers that you don't have. So give me one of them. Give me an industrial power then. Give me a political power. Give me a military. Ended up on military.
The thing is as well, the other dynamic which I wanted to talk about, and you was using Nigeria. The other dynamic, which is a problem in Africa, is not a problem of power and powerlessness. It's a problem of leadership. It's a problem of the fact that the leaders are not really, held accountable to the people. In actual fact, a lot of the times the leaders are working for outside the country and working for others, and that's really the problem they have. It's not the matter of they can't achieve these goals, or whether it be in military, whether it be in industrial or not.
Sir, I'm quite clear. I'm not sort of like uneducated in Nigeria and politics.
No, nobody said you are.
No, I'm just saying I'm quite clear about that, but none of those things is what I suggested. I understand what you're saying. I never suggested any of those. I only wanted a definition, which I know doesn't exist, but it was just to make my point, bring on my point of people who are executing that power right now. The fact these are the reasons why they're not executing it is not the argument. I didn't answer. Give me a reason why Nigerians are not using the power that they have at their hand. I didn't ask that. I said, show me a black power nation that's using power. That's what I asked for. So,
what is your definition of power?
I've explained that, sir. I've explained that. You know what I'm saying? It's like
is that the industrial? So
it's all of them. It's all of them that I just mentioned. That's why I use the cocoa. That's why I use the chocolate. You know what I'm saying? That's why I use the UN. It's all over the place. You still have no power. You're powerless. It doesn't mean you don't have.
But what is your definition of power?
I just told you, bruv. What's wrong with you, bruv?
You haven't given you a definition of power. You just used examples. You just used examples, bruv. You're not given a definition of power.
Do you know what definition is?
Define power. Define it.
I told you what it is.
In words, define it. No, don't give me examples. Define it, bro. Define it.
I've just told you. Everything has to be based upon.
You give me examples. You give me an example of a guy working in a chocolate factory. That's an example. That's not defining it, bro.
That's just showing that you're... Brother, it's in the dictionary. All the examples are in. If you look up power right now...
No, I'm not asking for a dictionary. I'm asking you to define it.
Bro, I can't just make... power means I've got... power means I've got, Nike trainers on. That you can make anything. I'm just talking about what's established as power, yeah? Power, established views of power, not the make-believe one. You know what I'm saying? So look in the dictionary and you'll find that, and the ones I mentioned are there. So that's the one I'm using.
Well, Bob, let me just end it here, right? I like the way you agitate the people in terms of awakening them, but Bob, I don't think the substance of your argument is 100% correct. That's all I say,
up to you.
Bob.
You're entitled to your opinion.
Nobody's
going to ever have that about anybody, from Liberal to Labour to Malcolm X to Martin Luther. Nobody's going to have that, and I get that. What I'm looking for in order to reset my position. It's something that's viable enough to me to reset my position. I'm not afraid to do that. But I'm saying...
Yeah, but Bob, can I just say one more thing, Bob? The point is, I listened to some of the callers. I remember when you first come on there and the brothers want to blow your trumpet, bruv, like they're looking
that's
for God
your
or
jealousy.
something.
That has nothing to do with me.
But bruv, listen.
That's your own
You gotta
personal
understand-
jealousy. That has nothing
No,
to do
but
with
listen,
me.
bruv, we got some simplistic little knuckleheads among us, bruv.
Yeah,
and you know, they'll run after everything, bruv.
And also,
You
we've got some
understand?
agitated, aggressive people amongst us who are not really necessarily on point. They're just agitated and aggressive. We also have them. And I would suggest...
Yeah, you're right. It takes many to rule to make this world go round.
You know, whether people say I could have just, you know, I'm not afraid of you. I don't even know you. I could have just not let you come through again. I'm not afraid of you. Are you?
Yeah, but that's some girl business. That's some little girl talk, bruv. We talking about letting me go. What have I done, bruv? What have I done? You talk like you're the police and not letting me go through. What's all that about, bruv? Don't even go there with that nonsense, bruv. Don't go there with that nonsense, bruv.
Listen to you. You're going into something about nothing that didn't happen.
Yeah, but don't go there with that.
Why not? Because you cannot.
Because it's infantile.
I know your type. I know your type. You don't like anything that seems to have anything over the view that you have.
Oh,
so
come on,
now you're on this thing. I'm saying to you, I could have cut you off. Oh, are you going into that for? No, don't go there. What are you talking about?
That's infantile, bruv. That's infantile.
No, your behaviour is infantile. It's just opinionated. You've got saying that I'm infantile. I'm saying that your
the only reason you can do that is because you've got control over the first. The only reason you can do that, bruv.
Exactly. Whatever reason could I be able to do it? You tell me.
But why go there? So you can exercise your ego. Why go there?
That's what power is. That's what you don't know about power. That's what power is.
No, that's ego, bruv. That's egotistic.
Okay,
that's
well,
what that is.
Another name. You got another name for it. You can use that if you want. I'm saying it's power.
That's egotistic.
I have
That's not power. That's
I have
egotistic.
the power. You know, I've got this jingle that says you have the power to turn off the radio. That's not egotistic. That's choice. So if you don't like it, then I'll just turn you off. You can say what you want. You know what I'm saying? I'm not frightened of your...
I only phoned to debate with you, Bob. I didn't phone to get into some derogatory argument about whether you got the power or not, bro.
You're the one who started the derogatory. I haven't called you no names. I'm just telling you what exists out there.
Bro, whether you call me a name or not, I'm not going to go and cry in the corner like some girl, bro. I'm still going to talk to you because I
know girls that wouldn't cry. I know girls. What you want? Some little like? I know girls.
All right, bro.
Anyway,
yeah, you win.
It's all
you win.
So that. A nice one, yeah. I respect that. See you later.
I respect.
All right, bye. 07931 276 232 07931 276 232. If you want to get a call in before 6 o'clock to say whatever, if you've listened though, because sometimes people are jumping in and they don't really understand what I'm saying. You know what I mean? And they have their version, and I'm saying that them days of your version of something that I've given you, you know, a complete remit around, they're done. I'm not allowing people to have their own version because they don't understand my version. Either you join the argument as it stands, or you just leave it alone. I'm not trying to people, you know, you can call people say doom and gloom dictatorship. I'm saying that all it is about control. When the thing is, it's like black people. It seems like black people don't like when black man. You know, there's a Terminator gene amongst us. I see it every day. You know, and I've done a lot of work amongst people and young people, and it's like it's inbuilt to destroy each other and to bring man down. You know, and all I'm asking is for people to have respect. You know, they don't have to like me, but to have respect just means that, you know what I'm saying? You just talk to the person normally. If you've got other issues, then I can't help you. Genesis, my name's Dr. X. I was talking about power a minute ago. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, concerned black brother.
Concerned black brother. What you got to say?
Oh, let me just turn off this radio. Yeah. Them young guys have livened up the show a little anyway.
That's okay.
It was quite a dreary show. I've been listening to it for a little while still. You know? Obviously they haven't listened to LBC or any of the talk radio shows where, you know, you kind of got to stick to the remit, what they're talking about, and they cut you off, innit?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been on television. When you go off, they just strike you off, bro. And I've
even seen you on the box, man. Yeah? And I've seen how they've handled you, so you don't even need to go there. We understand ourselves clearly. But just to make them understand, you know, power. Yeah? There is an incident going on the continent of Africa right now in Sudan. been going on for many years. Yeah, the man, they tell them exactly who they are. They're going to take you in slavery. You're just who you are. Like a couple 100, 300 years ago, they're dealing with you exactly like that. There is not one. You don't see tanks from Nigeria. That man was we're using the example of Nigeria, powerful country. You don't see tanks rolling that way to stop the incident.
Absolutely.
Yeah? You don't see any of their countries from over there rolling anything that way to stop the incident, which is basically slavery. Yeah?
Absolutely, yeah.
So, you know, if there was power, something called power out there, I'm sure they would use it. You know?
You would hope they would use it, but what we was asking for was show us where they are using it. That's what I was asking for. So even if we're wrong and saying that we don't know what we're talking about, then show us the example of where they're using the military, the political, the industrial power. I've shown that the industrial power doesn't exist. I saw, they've got a whole heap of people with a lot of money, but how can you not be able to do anything in your own country? How can your country, that's just Nigeria, we're just talking about one, we're just talking about all of Africa and all the blacks all over the world. In America, we just end up focusing on Nigeria, but Africa, we're talking about America, we're talking about Britain. Show me someone that's able to exact any of those features. There is no one. But if you can, I'll be grateful. Anywhere along the world, anywhere, Australia, show me what the Aborigines are doing. Show me what the black Americans are doing. Show me what the black British are doing. Show me something where these people show that they have power when they want you to join these black organizations and have this black this and this black that and this black market and this black economy. Show me what they're doing, because without none of those things, everything else is just a make-believe.
I'd have to sort of agree with you.
That's what they don't like. They don't like when people agree with me, because somebody's going, he's chatting shit. But if you agree, if you disagree, then have a different argument and let me hear it.
Yeah, on the definition that you put it down, there's nothing else apart from that in this world there on a real thing. Of course you'd have to agree. How could you disagree with that? Yeah?
Unless you redefine it. If you redefine it, then you'll have a different take on it, isn't it? Because you're redefining my position.
Well,
that's the only way I'm getting it on. People are redefining what I'm saying.
That's how they're coming at you.
Yeah.
That's how they're coming at you with it, with their argument.
Yeah.
I would agree, but I would disagree to say that we don't have that power. It is definitely within us, but there is nobody focusing anywhere. There's nobody come up at a place, with anything focusing that power anywhere. And it has to be.
When they went and bombed the whole of Libya out and made all the millions of people homeless, I didn't see any example of any power. Just humanitarian power to say, why are you doing this to this country? Why are you bombing the hospitals and the schools? Why are you bombing the electrical buildings and the gas buildings? Why are you doing that? Nobody.
Well, I suppose because there was Libyans, they don't look the same as us, innit? So we're not viewing it as anything to do with ourselves.
Nations, though. You see what I'm saying? I don't want to hear that as an excuse, because he was going to the African nations. So, and he was speaking to different African presidents. So none of them came to his aid. You know what I'm saying? Well, I don't know. I'm not saying they shouldn't have. But I'm saying that nobody did anything. That's what I'm saying to you. Like, show me an example of somebody saying, hold on a minute. No, you can't do that. If Russia said you can't bomb Libya, Libya would still be alive and kicking right now.
Yeah, most definitely.
You know what I'm saying? So there's no power, there's no military power in Africa to take on the West, the might of Africa. They would then sanction you. They would then sanction your industry. You know what I'm saying? They'll give trade embargoes. That's another point. Then they'll start to squeeze your what's the money that you got? The naira. They'll squeeze the hell out of that. Are you mad? That's power.
Yeah. Of course.
You know what I'm saying? They're not just gonna bomb you. They say, what are you getting involved in our thing for? We want to bomb that place. Is it? Right, we're gonna squeeze the hell out of the naira then. See what happens. See what you're gonna do with that. That means there's going to be starvation in Africa all over the place. It's a lot of other things. I mean, you're powerless to do anything about that.
So I suppose maybe this is why they came on to challenge you, because then it goes back to being a dreary show, innit? If it's all just about we're not this, we're not that, we're not the other.
I don't mind though. I'm with that, but you know what I'm saying? You've got to take that's why I let the caller back through again. As long as he's being respectful, I don't care. You can say what the hell you want, but don't start calling me names and using names to bunk your argument. Just say what you need. If you want to say, yeah, I think it's or whatever.
They're younger still, so they got a different vibes about them.
It doesn't matter. I've been doing this a long time. We need more control in our community. That way, man don't stab man over. I've seen man lick down man over football argument.
Yeah.
That's end of that, bruv. If you don't want to
we're all from the same place. We totally understand one another like that.
Yeah, I'm not into all of that no more. Like, man's licking man in his chest saying, you don't understand, and bang, bang. I will punch you in your face, brother. Stop hitting me in my chest when you're talking to me. That means you want to fight me. Why are you... It's an argument. This is not... We're not boxing. See what I'm saying? So we need to move away from that aggressive. If you can't manage and control your breathing and control it, say what the hell you want. As long as it's under control, you can start and stop. But if you're and you can't stop, it means you might kill someone. Or you might put yourself in a position to be killed or hurt. Stop all of that. This is why our community is so under siege. Too much. Nobody's in control of themselves. As soon as you upset them, then we'll mash up the place, I'll kill somebody. What's that about? Like, if I don't agree, I can butt in. You can butt in on my argument. Nothing wrong. I'm not going to call you an idiot for bucking in on my... I'm saying you're a fib. Why are you going on over? You're like a faggot. What are you talking about? I don't need that language to explain myself.
Yeah. I know certain people just don't understand, don't go there, but...
Absolutely.
But, I hope you're going to done this show on a more positive...
That's all good.
Positive, like,
to me, it's
all positive. Give him something.
It's all positive.
I totally feel you. Yeah, because it's just pushing out something on the airways that doesn't get pushed out any which way, innit?
Yeah,
so,
basically, yeah.
Yeah? No need for all the emotional.
No, and it doesn't matter as long as people can grab hold of... I don't mind the emotion. You know, as long as you can grab hold of yourself, it's nice. You know, because me and a couple of we were, you know, another, I think, MX, you know, we had to, but, you know, he didn't strip over the mark. He didn't call me no names or rubbish my argument. He just kept on his argument. That's perfect debate, bruv. We can do that. You know what I'm saying? Somebody called in and praised him and all that. That's what a perfect debate is. Whether you're for me or against me, it doesn't matter. Keep control of yourself. You know what I'm saying? So you can argue your point. If some people, they get flustered and they lose. You know what I mean? And they feel like, that's not...
LBC would have cut him off a long time anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Some simple things. Exactly. Look, let's have a good day, yeah?
All right, bro. Nice one, yeah? Thanks.
Yeah, man. Bless.
Concerned citizen. Yeah. Yeah, so 07931, we're coming up to the tail end of the show now. You know what I'm saying? You know, like, yeah, so the guy that made it exciting. You know what I'm saying? People like excitement. That's cool. And I think that there's nothing wrong with that. And I think contrary arguments are great because it helps you to smash out your argument. You know what I'm saying? That you know, it's not a lecture as such, but I got to say some bits in order to give a remit to think within. Because, you know, too many of our shows, in terms of black shows, they go all over the place. People start getting philosophical and spiritual and all kinds of stuff they add to the argument, which has got nothing to do with the argument. And you feel, as a black person, you got to let them continue. I mean, no. 07931 276 232. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Knowledge is not power. Money is not power. You know what I'm saying? None of these things you can see with the gangster rappers. The gangster rappers are out there claiming they got no power whatsoever except to throw money after strippers and buy cars. They're not people that you can use, you know what I'm saying, as an example for a better, a more advanced way of living. They're not. They're thugs and gangsters. Genesis.
Hello?
Is it the same? That looked like 347. Is that the same caller?
Yes, brother.
Yeah, what are you saying now, bro?
What are you saying? Listen. You know what? Let me, because I might have got this wrong. These are the people's talk shows, so people phone in with their subjects, but I know you do it slightly different. Yeah. And I didn't catch it from the beginning.
Uh-huh.
So, what we were talking about power and powerless, but what was the topic you were defining in the beginning?
I don't really want to. I mean, that's going to take us back a bit, but quickly, you know what I'm saying? I'm just talking about that we as black people, we are a powerless group. We are not functioning from the point of power. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing that we do that what the ones I've mentioned to you, industry, social, military, we've got none of the, and politics, we've got none of political, we've got none of those as a power that we can use to get ourselves out of this situation in terms of child murder, in terms of teenage murder, in terms of child education, in terms of child murder, in terms of, you know, all the other stuff that's affecting us. You need some of these powers to be able to say, we stop. We need, you know, I talked about Black Lives Matters. I went into a lot of stuff, bro, before we got to this point.
Yeah, but you see, all right, you've given it to me, and I thank you for that. But listen, Bob, we're talking about the problem as if to say that the problem is the ultimate. That problem can't be resolved. Listen, if a man kicks down your door and comes, rapes, and tries to murder you and rape your wife, it's not your fault. It's the psychopath who coming to your door. The problem is we got this psychopath on our back. You know what I'm saying? You got psychopathic intentions. I've heard you say it before, so you know that. So, bruv, you're minding your own business, doing your thing, and progressing your people, and a psychopath turns up at your door, kicks in the door, wants to rob you and kill you. It's not your fault. He's the psychopath. It's what are we going to do with the psychopath? And the problem is we've been locked in chains under this psychopath for many years. Right? It's not that we haven't tried. I mean, I was thinking when you were talking earlier on, do you know of the coconut war in Papua New Guinea? How they run that? I mean, there is examples of people who, with nothing, have fought big powers. I mean, they defended themselves against...
That's not what I'm saying. I know about the Samson and Goliath phenomena. I know about that. I don't ask that. It's like you... To get your grips around just the subject alone without inviting all these other things in there.
What I'm saying, brother, the way you're coming across is like the problem is the ultimate problem. Because we've been put in these chains, because we've been murdered, raped, and so on and so forth. So this is our problem. Yeah, but the psychopath will come with the problem, bro. Yeah, you're not even talking about. You're not even really saying that. Some of us have adopted those psychopathic tendencies. Those psychopathic tendencies.
I said that though. You see what I'm saying? Okay, this is what
I'm saying. But I didn't catch the beginning of the show, so I apologise. But what I'm saying is that just to suggest that because of this psychopath, which is on our back, that we're the ones with the problem. Listen, there's many things. I mean, even I don't want to just point on Nigeria, but in Nigeria, you've got a brother showed me. Some stuff where they were making cars, like making Jeeps, a whole car factory, right? Showing me what they're doing down there. And what they were saying is that a lot of them vehicles are not released outside Nigeria because of the sanctions held by certain powers, European powers, against Nigeria. So it's not that they don't make these things. It's not that we aren't doing these things.
You're still on this thing. You're still on this thing of defending that part of the argument. It's not about that part of the argument. I know about the turbine inventors. I know all about this stuff.
No, I'm not talking about turbine inventors. I'm talking about we are building these things. That's the point I'm trying to make. This is current. This is not about. This is not about past invention. This is current now.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that they've recently invented a new car down there. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, what is it? What is it that what can't
what we're talking about is industry. There is industry, and industry is going on.
I said power. You just told me that they got this industry and they got no power. You just said that they got sanctions on them. So that means they got the industry but no power. I'm talking about power, bruv. You're showing me. I know they got this, they got that. I'm aware of these things. That's not what that's not what I'm presenting today. You know what I'm saying? You're
that's why I not necessarily what power is, because the mere fact we're talking about sanctions, that doesn't necessarily follow that power.
You said listen, bruv, listen to how it goes. Industry with power, not industry. Everywhere's got some type of industry, even Papua New Guinea. Everyone got industry of a sort. We were talking about powerful industry versus the powerless. They can make their own cars that can't sell out. What can Britain make their own cars that can't sell outside of Britain? Does America make its own cars that can't sell outside of Britain? Does Australia?
Yes, it does. Yeah, bruv. Stop there. You just said something. What American car do you know sells outside America, bro?
No,
you told me one.
Oh, no, you see, this is why I don't want to get into this long argument, because it now
you're going off topic.
You're going off topic. You're going off topic.
You just raised it.
You're going off topic. You're going. I've never raised it. I'm just saying that you.
You just said.
The fact that you said that
you just said. Name me one American doesn't sell outside America, and I'm telling you to name me one American car what sells outside America.
Old Ford, they make Ford.
They can't.
The difference is that they're left-hand drive. They talk about they can sell any car they want outside America. If they choose not to, that's a different argument. These people can't sell
that isn't to do with choice. That isn't to do with choice. That is to do with supply and supply and demand, bro. Supply and demand. There's no demand for it.
You're going somewhere else. Now you're telling me the reason for it. You see, that's what I'm saying.
This is free,
bro. We're now going into free argument. We're now going into free argument. This doesn't make no sense.
But that's why I ask you to define the power, because your power argument is by the use of examples as opposed to specifically defining what you say power is.
I told you what.
When somebody gives you, when someone gives you a counter argument, bruv, you jump all over the place.
That's
like
not a counter argument, brother. Don't you understand? This is the free
argument. You're not listening to that.
This is the
As far as you're concerned, your argument is like the caller who rang you, who's patting you on your back, who's part of your team.
See what I'm saying?
Let me pat you on your back, bruv. You're doing so well. That brother rang you up and said jump a bit. Let me just pat you on the back to make you feel a bit more comfortable, bruv. That's all nonsense. No, but it's nonsense. You should have an open debate where people can debate it.
Bruv, that's not how it works. That's not. You're just bringing in stuff that doesn't make sense.
All right, bruv. All right. No, I understand it's how it works.
You speak hateful stuff. You speak hateful stuff, trying to mask it as a decent debate. That guy patting you all over the back and all that.
Oh, man, but it's true. That's what happens, bruv. Is he not part of your team?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I know the guy. What are you talking about? Look what we're getting into now. A little petty argument, because that must mean that you have a little petty streak running through you, bro.
Listen, man.
I told you not to get into none of this, and I've given you a second time to come on, and now you're talking about supply and demand and this. And I said to you that I was trying to show power. They have the power to sell outside America. Those people can't sell outside America. And then you moved on to something else. You're in a barbershop argument that I don't want to. I don't want to be no part of no more. That's not true. So, what you know? This is what I'm saying. These are these little petty little guys that want to. Everything you say, they've got something else to say, but it's nothing to do with the overall context. You know what I mean? All this little petty argument, and then that guy's patting you on the back. What's the necessary of that? I don't understand what's the necessity of that. Because these people have a deep-rooted dislike and hatred within them that they need to keep pushing out there. See what I'm saying? If I said, oh yeah, you're right, boy, do you want to take over my position? Do you want to be like me? Because, it's like there's like with a lot of black people, it's like this insane jealousy that they have that they can't control. All you need to do is say your point, bruv. You know what I'm saying? And if it doesn't work, it don't work. Why do you need to start talking about who's patting the other caller that's patting you on the back? Who says stuff like that? You know what I'm saying? It's only the red-eye people, them, and the bad-mind people talk like that in an argument. What are you trying to get out of the argument? An answer, or you're just trying to beat down on you don't like my personality or you don't like my vibe? Go away with that, man. Find somewhere else to go with that. Barbershop, that's good in there. Hello, I'm Genesis. This is Genesis. My name's Doctah X. Who am I speaking to?
Alright, Doctah X, it's D calling back to pat you on your back. Say what a fabulous show you've got going on. Doing a good job, mate.
Don't start,
bro. I'm pat you on the back. Listen,
I don't business.
The show's been good. The show's been good. I think it's lost a bit of its. Either they're not listening or the penny's not dropping with them in regards to what you put down. Now, if you're at the end of the show, like, to me, it's simple. It's like you're talking about fruits, but you're talking about the apple and the orange. And that's the premise of the argument. You're talking about fruit, we're talking about apples and oranges. And people are coming and talking about pineapples,
pears, and...
You understand? They're taking
but they're fruits, though! What's your definition of a fruit? But that's a fruit, though! And, bruv...
Yeah, they're stuck to the basic of the argument, and that's why you're getting, like the last caller, he's frustrated, he's powering them, because the fact... What's frustrating the caller that keeps hounding you and basically disrespecting you and people who's calling, he doesn't understand the argument that you put forth. We're talking about oranges. Don't talk about apples. Don't talk about... No. Doctah X is talking about oranges. Stick to oranges. The fact that you can't bring an argument about the orange, he wants to argue about
something
apples,
else
pears,
bananas. Perfect. Well done.
It's still in the fruit arena. We're still arguing the fruit arena. No, but you're arguing about bananas. I'm talking about oranges.
Right.
You got to simplify the call.
You see what I'm saying? And that's me patting you on the back now. I'm saying that in the level of where we're at now, what we've been doing for the past 20 years, I've been on this show a lot. I've been doing this a lot, and I've been through all of this, and I understand now what these people are doing. they just wanna beat down on me if they feel that what I'm saying makes sense. So they then attack me and not what I'm saying. Oh, you think that guy's patting you on the back and your definition is too narrow. But this is my definition. You can't tell me what my definition should be.
Listen, there's been times I listened to your show many moons ago, and I totally was against what you said. I didn't even bother calling up. You know why? Because I know the type of character you are. And I need to tell these guys who are calling up, do your homework, learn your enemy. If you have an enemy, learn your competitor. If you have a competitor, don't phone up Dr. X and you don't know who Dr. X is. Don't phone him up if you don't know who he is. I know who he is. I've been listening to him a long time. And if you don't know, it's when I talk, I let him talk. You have to let Dr. X talk. Let him talk, and then you fit in where you're getting, because that's how this show runs. Genesis, Dr. X, big up. Bye.
Stop it. Respect. You know what I'm saying? You get me? So this is, I respect that. How about that? You know what I'm saying? It's like, you got to have some people that pat you on the back. As you're nobody, isn't it? People got to like you. People like Rio Ferdinand. They're like, you know what I'm saying? How the hell can you just, and then some people hate him. Oh, what are you going to have that? What I'm saying is that it's important to stick to the and stop being so barbershop. You know what I mean? You know, I see man lick down man in barbershop of a free argument. Don't be it's not barbershop. If I've made a remit, then if you don't like it, don't call. If you don't like it, don't say nothing. But if you're going to say something, make sure you know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Don't make your own stuff up as you go along and redefine what I'm saying on the basis. So what is that power then? And it depends on what you... And I've said it so many times that it's getting boring. I told you what power is. And there's many people that listen would have got it long time ago. But you get these people that do that. You know what I'm saying? And in a sense, it makes me lose, you know, my stuff about preposition and that I need to add to my... You know what I mean? To make it more defined. Hello. Genesis.
Yes, Dr. X. It's a live one today.
Yeah, who am I speaking to?
Fiona.
How you doing, Fiona? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. All the more better for listening to your show today. It's been, yeah.
What, is that a pat on the back? Is that a pat on the back? I don't want no more.
I think it is. It might just be a pat on the back. I'm sorry. You know what? I think the reason why you're getting so much resistance to what you're saying is because it's not towing the line of what is currently floating out there. You know, it goes against, we can't entrepreneurship our way out of this. We can't relocate our way out of this. We can't pray to fairy godmothers and work with crystals out of this. So there's a whole lot of resistance to it. You're just laying out a plain and simple fact that, you know what, as tough as it is to face this fact, our motherland, Africa, is powerless in the face of Western powers. It is, and it's been that way for a good while now.
Absolutely.
I don't really see why that's such a controversial thing.
Because people are making finance out of all this. Go back to Africa. They've turned, you know, consciousness or so-called consciousness into a business. You know what I'm saying? Now it's a business, so everybody wants to earn out of it now. Yeah, sell you this crystal. I mean that. You know, sell you this. You know, this healthy eating cucumber.
That's it. Yeah, you can turn yourself into a superhuman by eating alkaline. Work your way out of this.
You see it. Everything you can get yourself out, but make sure you pay me. You know, like what the other caller said, premium prices. You got people that you got,
and then browbeat you if you're not supporting it. Support the black pound, but like a couple of callers have mentioned. And I've said it before as well, where is this black pound going? You're not doing anything different than any other nationality or race of people. All you're going to do is take that money and it's going to benefit you and your family. You're not putting that money back into the community, are you? Because it's a privately owned business. So where's all the profits going to go? Back to the community? I don't think so.
Exactly. It's capitalism you're using. You're using the basis of capitalism.
Thank you.
You're not using a different model. You're using the same model. So if you're selling, if Fiona's selling something, she's selling me a juice and it costs £2. But I can get that. Remember, every business is business breaks down to mean what you're busy with. So my business is to take care of my business. Now I've got £3. Do I buy one bottle from you for £2, or buy the mixed up bottle, which is a little bit better, more cost effective, lasts me longer, for £3? Which one do I do? Because I'm taking care of business.
You know what? For fear of giving you another pat on the back, I have to agree with you. Because obviously you're going to do what is going to be more cost effective
for your business. For your business, right? So therefore, because remember, if you were saying to me, "Here's a set of ethics that we work with. Here's how the pound breaks down, so that when you spend your money with a black business, it recirculates, not on some theory, but because of the various type of export or inputs that you have that you can almost follow and say, yeah, all right, then I'd rather give my mind there because I know that on the 3rd or the 5th, there's a sale going on that I will benefit because we're able to keep price down once a month or once every 3 months. I'll get a sale. I could go to that sale. Nothing. Nothing. There's no outline. Nothing. There's no way you're spending black people with money and getting any benefit out of it other than your ego. Nothing can get out of it. Because the money has to go back to the plastic people, them to get the bottles, which are white. Their money has to go to which you distribute and make plastics. Their money has to go to the white people that sell the cucumber, the Jews who are white because they own, or Asian. You know what I'm saying? So they have to get money from there. So you tell me what my benefit is, other than making you rich. Because you, in capitalism, you're going to make a huge profit, and I'm going to make, and I'm, as a consumer, I'm barely going to. And anybody that works for you is going to get a little bit of money while you get all the rich. So I must buy into that, yeah, as a conscious person.
That's all it is. So. That's really all it is. I said to someone before, at best, it's going to make some people rich, yeah? That's not necessarily a bad thing, but to try and put it out there as a solution for the wider community, I believe is a wrong thing to come out with, because it's not going to benefit the wider community. It's going to benefit the individuals that make a success out of their business, and it's as simple as that, because that's how it works. If that's not how it works, yeah, then you show me a positive correlation between, say, a barber shop or a food shop opening on the high street, because we do have those, and for every one of them shops that opens and turns out business, has it had any impact on the amount of homeless people there are in our community? Has it had any impact on the amount of other social problems in our community? No, it hasn't, because it's not supposed to do that. It's a business. It's there to make profit for the business owner. Unless you're going to set up a social enterprise or something like that, I don't really see what the correlation between improving ourselves socially, yeah, as a wider community, and running a business is, unless someone can explain that to me.
Absolutely. See, I'm saying, Fiona, and you're a girl. Are you one of them scared girls? Because he was talking about, don't be like a girl. He must not living in this time. You know, they got type of girls with bad up enough, man, right now. You can't be talking about living like a girl. Girls ain't living like that no more. They're playing football, they're driving dumper trucks. So when you're talking about living like a girl, you have to specify which girl you're talking about. Because some of the girls I know will lick you in your face.
Yeah.
I know kickboxing girls. What are you talking about?
Differently. But you know, it's like this, right? At the end of the day, Western powers, they've got control over the means of production, and they protect that control with their military might.
Their
brutality. That's how they do it.
Yeah, and their gentleness, and their politics, and their industry.
Their fire capacity, their military might. Yes, they do that.
Right. So I don't know what was difficult to get, because they want to buy into this fantasy.
It's not difficult to get. Look, you've got US, they're the military, they've got the most military might, right? You've got Russia, you've got China, as you mentioned. Yes, you've got India as well. India's somewhere there too.
They've got a nuclear weapon.
Exactly. That's it. That's right. But our situation isn't even going to be solved by military power anyway. Anyway, yeah.
Sonia, all of them are wicked. They all got people living in the gutter. In every single one of the countries.
Thank you. I'm glad you're pointing that out, because I wanted to say that too.
Sorry?
I wanted to say that too. That's right.
They got people living in shit in all these so-called rich countries. People live in shit.
Look at the slums. Look at the slums in India.
Yeah.
Look at how the average Chinaman worker is living in China.
He earns pennies a day. You know what I'm saying? They've got the people them earning pennies in the prisons in America, locking people up on the false pretenses that this is real. It's all fake. You know, in Britain, they're now adopting the same policies. That's why they're creating this new world order, this new world of things right now. Across Europe, they're doing the same. Japan, they're doing the same. Are you mad? That's what you want me to live to. That's what you want me to buy into.
That's why sometimes, right? Sorry to cut you, but sometimes that's why it hurts my heart at times when I hear certain presenters or whatever coming on the radio station and licking out against, I call them the poor, ordinary people. I don't really care look, from you're not one of them elitist people, as far as I'm concerned, you may as well be one of the have-nots, So don't mind if I use the term the poor, right? It doesn't mean to say that you've got to be begging on the street.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
But when I hear them licking out against the poor, right?
And working class.
Coming out with their conservative ideas about how we should be doing things, and attacking people because they're not running businesses and they're not running their finances right. It's rubbish. Rubbish. Do they not understand the economic system that we live under? It's called capitalism. It's been around for a few hundred years now. If you don't know about it, you ain't never going to know about it.
It's a brutal
and you
and
can use
oppressive
the tools
system.
of it to fight against. I mean, it's a joke.
It's a brutal and oppressive system. It's born out of
Yes,
it's
it
born
is.
off the backs of our mothers and fathers who had to get raped, murdered, their land stolen, their resource stolen in order for them to claim that they're
That's
decent,
right.
civilized people. Are you mad?
Slave labour, exactly. Slave labour. And so when I hear that one of the things that we're asking for in this reparation movement, is a promise that slavery will never happen again. Well, that's that out of the water, clean out the window. Because at the end of the day, it's already here. What do you think all them prisoners in America is going through? That's virtual slave labour.
They got children who should be in nursery.
And you promise that it's not going to return. It's already here.
It's still
Look
going
at what
on.
capitalism is about, man.
They got people still picking cotton. They've got children, well, not so much cotton, but cocoa in Africa right now, and they should be at school. Their system is great. They don't care. They don't care. They got fair trade agreements on stuff that they've been consistently abusing people of their bananas, of their cocoa, of their coffee, and then claiming they got fair trade agreement. Why didn't you have a fair trade from the beginning? So that means the trade before was unfair, then, is it?
Exactly.
And it's still
the fact of the matter is, these people in power, I'm just going to leave it like this because a lot of other people might want to jump in before the show ends, right? These people in power don't even give a foof about their own people. Right? Because as much as we say, look at Indians, look at the China, they did it, we should do it. Well, look at their countries and tell me why they've got Indian girls in child prostitution, they've got children working in factories every single hour of the day to make your Nike trainers for virtually nothing. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's not all hunky-dory for everyone. These people that only care about profit and making money don't give a damn about humanity. It's as simple as that. I'll just leave it there,
Lovely jubbly.
Right?
Yeah, nice one, Fiona.
Nice.
Thanks for that.
Okay.
That wasn't a pat on the back, though. I gotta think about that one. Respect, Fiona. You know what I'm saying? That's all that kind of stuff is like, you're not good. What I'm trying to push out, at least, is a clarity of thought. You know what I'm saying? You want us to think clearly. You know what I'm saying? So you understand what you're dealing with and not some fantasy that somebody's trying to feed you through some old reggae music or da-da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? Everything plays its part, but don't buy into this. Don't buy into this stuff. Don't buy into this fake idea of if you don't perm your hair, somehow you're more blacker. Don't buy into this. If you drink more alkaline food, somehow you've elevated your godhood. Don't buy into none of that stuff. That stuff is about making money. It's just a black version of capitalism. You know what I'm saying? If it's not helping all of us, then it's only helping some of us. Hello, I'm Dr. X. This is the People's Talk Show on the last bit. Who am I speaking to?
Yes, brother. I call myself Mr. Pat You on your back. Yeah.
Another one? Is this a new one?
I'm the original who started. Yeah? This one though, I'm not gonna agree. I'm not patting you on your back, yeah. And you and the next caller, yeah. Right. So they come through to this thing called business, yeah. Call it whatever you want to call it, yeah. Because everyone can call it what they want to call it. What it is that they're doing. The lady said social enterprise. There's co-ops, all kinds of things, and it's a choice. Yeah, this is where we live. Yeah, so when we're not in business and you got to go and spend your money, where are you spending your money? When no one don't run businesses, it's not. It's no fault of my own that everybody, the majority decides that it's a barbers or hairdressers that they're going to open, or a food shop. That is as far as their imagination goes. Yeah, and then they're going to walk next door into the Indian man shop and buy their cigarettes and buy their drinks and this and that and all the other bits and bobs that they need, because nobody else ain't catering for that, because that's too much hard work. Yeah, all right. But come on, I suppose maybe with the youngers, them, I'm just trying to understand and his point of view is that, come on, you got to be competing in every level in this world, don't we?
Bro, that's not what I'm saying.
And we choose to limit ourselves and compete in little pockets of this world.
I disagree. We're not choosing to do that. They're herding us into these small pockets.
Come on, man. No, I'm not accepting that. I'm not accepting that. I'm going to limit themselves. You can step out in this world and do business anywhere in this place here.
Yeah, the street is paved with gold. Yeah, that's what our parents told you. Yeah, look.
Bro,
I live my life then.
Bro, there was more black prisoners in there in the 60s than there is now in certain Britain, in certain Harlesden. What are you talking about? They are not. They're not working with us. They're working against us. The Indians, all the Asians, the Caucasians, the Indian Asian, the Chinese Asian, all the Asians, are working and using the black community. That's why they bought up so much property. Now, we not being maybe not a greedy people or whatever the case may be, and them seeing an advantage over us because we've been enslaved for 400 years. They've obviously gone into
loud and old-time argument. Loud and old-time argument that's 400 years. That's what we're talking about now.
Listen.
And it's a choice thing. It's a choice thing. The things that we decide to get involved in and things that we decide we're going to compete.
We can choose.
It's a choice thing, isn't it? Every man can have a dance, yeah? Everybody... weekend, there's nothing but dance going on, yeah? That's how Mandem's making their money. That's the choice thing. No one don't want to open up no corner shop and no supermarket and sell to people.
I think that's an ill-advised mindset. That's an inexperienced mindset.
Everybody got to go and get out and go and work for the system, and then they're going to spend their money on clothes and everything.
They offer different prices to. I've seen this app play in Brixton. They offer different prices to black people. You think when Brixton was empty, all the black people, you're telling me all the educated black people, all the people that know how to run business, all the people that are doing business right now, they looked at Brixton and go, oh no, I'm so dumb, I don't want to open a business. You know this
place, and most of the people then in this place that try to do business get run out of the place by the other nutters.
Bruv.
Most of the proper people then that try to do business in this place here, if you ain't got arms behind you, it can't work in this manner.
Bruv, I'm saying to you this.
Yeah? So them people, that type of person, the professional people, and they move out, yeah, because they can't angle what Brixton is.
Right, not just at Brixton, if you go to Harlesden, it's the same. You know what I'm saying?
Them places don't look wicked like how down here. Them man, they don't show some love amongst one another. Go down the... I don't know. Yeah, maybe nowadays it's a different thing.
Let me show you how it's impossible. It's impossible for a group of people to come over to this country and just gain access to holy shops, and they've just been here a year. It never happened for black people. What do you think? What do you
mean gain?
How did the people that have been there for 15, 20 years before them, they never got the shops, and then the Indian come there, and then all the shops are...
I never want no shop. Come on, bro. Remember, you come on, it's like you don't know us. Yeah? Most don't want nothing like that.
No.
Most don't want nothing like that. Yeah? Most just want a job and work for this.
No, I disagree though. I disagree wholeheartedly. I've dealt with a lot of business people in my life, black men. I personally have worked for black businessmen, me personally. So I'm telling you, that's not how it goes. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying that what happens is that you're not working on a fair playing field. I'm telling you that.
Why should you be? Why should you be?
What you're saying?
Why should you be working? Why should you be working on a... Why should you be working on a...
Because he was working on a playing field.
For all that you just said previously, why should that part of things be fair? What are you on about?
Well, I mean, you can say that.
Of course things is going to be stacked
you can say that, bro.
And it's for your creativity to work out something towards that, isn't it?
Yeah, but if you...
And it has ever been so, isn't it? That our creativity has got to come forward for any of the challenges that we face.
All right, fair enough. If that's what you think, but I'm just saying to you that whether you disagree or you agree, I'm saying
when everybody keeps coming and knocking, and I'm more going on for younger people than that is listening here to tell them don't do business. How can you don't do business? How can you not be on the high street challenging the next man? If a man can open a barber shop, he can bloody open up other things, can't he? He chooses not to. He chooses not to do a car wash. He could have gone to the road talking about their starving. Yeah, they could go. What is it? Shampoo and water to wash a car. How much black youths is out there washing cars, set up car wash, washing car? A man step in the country and is building their whole industry of car washing.
I don't agree.
You don't agree? We can't do that.
It's not something we can do. It's too hard.
That's not what I said. I said I don't agree with the
No.
But you're not listening, bro. Are you going to be like that? You're not listening. I'm saying that I know black man that started car wash business. I know 2 black men that started car wash business. You understand what I'm saying? So
accept your own and be yourself.
That means the show's coming to the end.
Genesis Radio.
Okay. All right. Well,
if you use your phone while you're driving and it's not hands-free, the penalty's been doubled. It's now 6 points and £200. The trouble is, a lot of us are addicted to our phones. So try this trick. Put your...
Right, okay. So, as I was saying, the other guy hasn't come in yet, but I've just finished off this call. I'm saying I don't agree because I've met two, especially in Brixton, two guys I know who run car washes. I'm saying...
we probably know, but I probably know both of them, innit?
Right, so I'm saying to you is that, you know what I'm saying? As I'm saying to you, what happens in our community is that they lock us off and then they put somebody else which is more like them in their community. We just like the white guy who hasn't started a community car wash, you know what I'm saying, because he doesn't need to. You know, these people have come in under that same guise. Not just community car washes. There's black men that's running. I'm
not talking about no community car wash, blood. Look,
you just said
so how are we functioning?
Trying to show you.
Oh, go on.
You got people that were doing printing shops. You got people that were selling jewelry. You got people that were selling clothes. It's not the one, but the fact is, if they give you a different price, you can't compete because the price that given you can't make back your money. Then when they give that, when you're an Indian group of people that own it, and then you give it to another Hindu or another Muslim, you're going to give it to them a price based upon your religion. But the other guy's got to compete with some ridiculous commercial price that he can't.
You're just talking about. You're just talking about the lack of us not functioning properly.
I'm saying that because you don't control. Remember, in the first business,
yes, because I've been in all of those situations that you're talking about, in all of those situations, I always put it back on myself as it was down to the fact that I wasn't functioning properly.
That's up to you. That's up to you. If you want to self-flagellate, that's up to you. But I'm saying I've seen this at play, me personally. So I would just like how I saw them rip down the Black Wall Street, just like how I've seen them attack and buy. Every time black people have something, buy out their fools. They fool what they call barbarians at the gate. They force people into their company, silent like agents, and then they start buying up bits and bits of the company until the person doesn't realise that they're forced to sell their company. They are unscrupulous. They are unscrupulous. But you're saying of course, but I'm saying to you that if you want to live in that world and you think that's a fair, it's only going to create more psychopaths. It's going to create more thieves. It's going to create more jailhouse people. This is not a great society to live in.
Then we'll just continue giving our pennies to somebody else.
If you want to say live in that,
the same people that you say that have got that same hate for us, we must just continue happily handing our pennies over to them.
I said I'm saying that that's what you're up
because there's no competition to hand your pennies over to somebody else.
There's still people. There's black man running building business right now, decorating business right now. There's black man running real estate business.
Yeah, I'm talking about basics, blood. I'm talking about the basics. We got to eat food every day.
That's not
the basics.
That's bruv. But that is that. Yeah, but that's not together basic. That's not Muslim together basic. That's not Hindu together basic. That's just separate.
Well, that's the part we haven't worked out, isn't it? That's the part we haven't worked out. The together part of running them things. That's what I'm saying. And some of the black people, them are doubly or worse a thief than the Asian. You know what I'm saying? But the point is I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we're not all to blame. That's the point I'm making. We're not all to blame. I totally feel that because I know that to be true.
I'm saying we're not all to blame. We are to blame to a point, but we're not all to blame because there are people who are unscrupulous. You know what I'm saying? In defending their turf. They won't allow us into the. I've known people that have tried to get into the hair business. You know what I'm saying? Everybody that they go to is Indian. And they've already, and then they want to charge them. They're not charging the same price, wholesale price, to the Indian man as they're charging to the West Indian man, to the Jamaican man or the Barbadian man. They're charging a different wholesale price. And unless you get in there or you know somebody, you don't realise that. So you got more. So it's harder to start the business. So it's easier for them to continue the business and harder for you to start. And then you got to have black people who are already getting cheaper prices with the Indian man. Come on, it's not that.
Yeah, but it's not their fault that our women are mad, is it?
Oh, is it? I don't know.
It's not their fault that our women are mad, is it? So it still goes back down to us.
Bruv,
Because the women take the madness out of it, so they crush them people, there's business, innit? Could have probably will invest in certain of them companies there before they crush the business. Could have we'll do have done weave tomorrow.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? If there was no slavery, we
Yeah,
wouldn't need
yeah.
leave.
It's still no, that's got nothing to do with slavery. You can't keep using that as excuse. That's why the gal wear weave. That's slavery.
You can use that forever. You can use slavery forever because it's a part of our history. Yeah, it's a part of something that's been done.
Yeah. We all know and understand that, but keep bringing that to the argument.
You have to bring it to the argument. How can you have an argument without slavery and you live in the time after it? That's 60 years ago you couldn't drink out of the same tap as them. How can you not have that in your argument? That's like saying talking about the state of capitalism without talking about World War I or World War II. You know what I mean? If you've got to argue of something, you have to bring it up.
Yeah, I understand it if you're going to put it like that. Yeah.
So I'm saying I'm not. You know the way I talk. I'm not using it as a blame. I'm using it as a part of the argument. We've got to look at all things realistic. We can't just say I got licked on. I'm licking out against this and not say hold on a minute. Even though I'm licking out against that and fact that we're powerless, these are the reasons why we're powerless. These are the reasons why they keep doing it to us. These are the reasons why the community is full of agents and grassers and informers that are creating this, protecting this weed industry and this cocaine industry and this crack industry. There's reasons why the music has been the companies that own all the white music are buying back the same crack criminal music back to themselves because they want black people to be criminals. It's illegal for you to sing a song about killing someone, but only if they're white. So it's legal. So you know what I'm saying? If they were realistic, if they were truthful, if they were proper, it was proper fairness and not this type of what I call justice. You know what I'm saying? They would not allow you to sing songs about killing other black men. But they don't care about it. But you sing a song about killing a Jew or a white man or anything and you're going to jail. Or they're locking down your thing. You understand what I'm saying? So we are playing against a stacked deck. They're killing us. They're murdering us. They're pushing us in corners. So when I say about business, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a business, but don't use a business as some type of liberation. All you're going to do is live your life. That's all you're using it for. It's not liberating anybody. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying don't have a business, but don't falsely advertise your business as liberation. It isn't.
No, not so. It's not just so.
At all.
None at all.
At all. So have a business though, and do what you're doing and do whatever you can do. Have it. I'm saying that. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, I've worked for a black businessman. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's the people that are using it, trying to get people to spend money with them under some kind of, we don't know about business and black people. No, it's not that. You people are still spending that capitalistic money. You're still going about it in a capitalistic way. So what's the difference? Because that is liberation. There's no difference. You can spend your money on anybody. You are a business. Every individual is a business. That means what you're busy with. That's what business, that's the original term of business. It's not a make-up-believe term. Busy and ness. That's what you are. So everybody's a business. You got to protect your own business. So whether you work for £3 an hour or £10 an hour, whether you sleep or you get up, whether you start that business or you go to work for a man, that's your business you're running. So I'm saying that as long as you're doing that and you're taking care of yourself and your family, whatever's needed, you're going to have to do. Not, let me just buy from black people who are overcharging me so that they can go and spend their money back with the Asian man and be going out with some white girl somewhere, I'm not saying where that's right or wrong. I'm saying that only if they use
it would be great if we could set our co-ops. It would be with who?
Well, that's a whole nother set of movements, isn't it? Because
that's a different argument altogether. But maybe you should have like a show about things like that, because if you're going to let business come with a different concept on it.
Well, I'm going to do that in the next one. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, anyway, I'm going to go. Yeah.
Thanks again, bro.
All right then.
Take care, bro.
Yeah.
Peace.
Yes.
Okay. We've run over time, but the other show hasn't started yet, so I'm going to shoot off anyway. I'll overstay my welcome. Thanks for your inputs, all the men and all the females. I mean, there was a lot of them, but we had some very, we had some hard debates there. It was cool, and I like that. And what we're trying to get to, or what I'm trying to get to at least, is just more control and more realism.
fight quick
I'm saying there's nothing wrong with arguing. There's nothing but the
My left
disrespecting.
stroke just went viral.
Disrespecting that you've learnt from rap music of to call people motherfuckers and niggers and all that while talking to them. It's that demon. It's that demon mindset that you've learnt from the white black Americans. I might do a show about that as well. So you're not gonna get nowhere. You're not gonna move forward when you're disrespecting people while you're talking to them and think it's fun. It's not. If you can control yourself, control yourself. A man was bigging up a next guy and saying, "Oh, like the way he put the argument." That's because that must mean he's got more control if he's not doing the same thing. Control is key.
Bitch, sit down. Bitch, be humble.
See, this is what I've got. I like this song. But it's talking about bitch, be humble. But it's talking about a particular type of person rather than a girl or da-da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? But obviously it's been put across in many type of ways. But it's like, be humble. You know what I'm saying? Especially the arrogant brother. Just calm yourself down. You know what I mean? Any arrogant brother. I'm not talking about an individual. You know what I'm saying? Calm yourself. Be humble. Like, learn how to learn. You know what I'm saying? Learning by, like, breathing down. I beat down because I'm a fighter. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I give way and then people just want to jump all over you and so you have to fight back. You know what I'm saying? But, in order to learn and to know what I know, I have to be humble. I have to sit down and listen. You know what I mean? It doesn't fall out the sky. You know what I'm saying? And I just, wake up one day and I've got it all. You have to learn to listen. You know what I'm saying? And accept where you're right or wrong. You know what I'm saying? Or where there's a difference of opinion. You know what I'm saying? You've got to be able to accept that. But if I've made an argument and I'm saying that there's nothing around, I'm looking for the argument about the argument, not a contrary one, not another one.
Nobody pray for me.
I'm just saying it's time for us to move along in terms of that. But as I said, the truth will set you free, and you got to keep that. We don't have that power.
Prominent families often forget a simple truth.
And which truth is that?
Knowledge is power.
Seize him. Cut his throat. Stop. Wait. I've changed my mind. Let him go. Step back 3 paces. Turn around. Close your eyes. Power is power. Power is power. Power. Power is power. Is power. Power is power. Power is power. Power is power. Power is power.
So once you understand what the remit for the power that you're talking about, whether it's to lift a weight or whatever it is, power is power. No, you can't just keep swapping them around and saying, well, this version of power and that. It's either you've got political power, you've got industrial power, you haven't. Not that you have it and you don't use it. You either have it to use or not. That's what power is not in this definition. Not whether you have it and can't use it. So hopefully that some lessons were learned. You get what I'm saying? Or some things were left to be thought about over the next month. I will be back on air in another month's time on the first Sunday of the next month, which will be, let's see what that is going to be. The 2nd of July will be the next time I'm on air. And for those of you who are on Facebook, you'll see what I'm going to call the show. Obviously, I'll let you know and WhatsApp and all that. So, I mean, obviously between now and then, I'll think of other stuff to rally my points around. You know what I'm saying? Just to put the realism. This is not about bringing down. It's about keeping it real and not stop. And because we got a lot of black people now working against black people now, it's not like before. So just to make sure that everybody's clear about that, we're doing. They're not being bamboozled. They're not being bullied into trying to, think quote unquote black when it's not to their best advantage. It's to somebody else's. You know what I mean? It's just trying to use you because many of us have turned to that white European mindset anyway, so that we're on this, ability to use people, the ability to rob people, the ability to trick people. We're now using as a form of our business and our acumen. Yeah. So I'll bid you good night, and I'll catch you on the other side. I can't take that call. You know what I'm saying? So, peace.